It's common in air quotes, infused with the scent of potpourri. The films we commit to memory, crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer, a weekly podcast reviewing 2 new or recent release titles every episode with an occasional free-for-all segment at the end that we call Potpourri. I'm your host, Matt Hurt, and you can find more of my work, including my written reviews, full episode show notes, and the complete backlog of our episodes and spinoff podcasts at obsessiveviewer.com. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and other social media platforms at the username of Obsessive Viewer. And if you'd like to support us and get access to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of exclusive episodes and recordings and podcasts, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. This week on Patreon, I've been kind of busy over there. So if you listened to the last episode, I turned 40 last Friday. And to celebrate that in the most Matt Hurt way possible, I recorded a 2-hour-long Patreon breakdown of all the movies that I watched in my 30s from 2016 to 2026, and shared some stats and some thoughts about it, and a whole bunch of just really insane vanity crap. But that is over on Patreon. I also did immediate reaction reviews of Over Your Dead Body and Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass, which was one of my most anticipated comedies of the year for sure. And finally, yesterday, I finally started my Back Half Blind Spots project, where basically now that I'm 40, I'm looking back at all the movies that I never got around to seeing before my 40th birthday, or movies that I saw long enough ago that I either don't remember or didn't rate them on Letterboxd or anything. So that started. It's called the Back Half Blind Spot series. It is over on Patreon. Episode 1, I cover Cool Hand Luke and the 2018 comedy Remember the Days, and I also talk briefly about Point Break on there. So that is over on Patreon. Once again, you can sign up at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for all of that and a bunch more content. I actually just created a new tier. So basically what it is now is like there's 3 different tiers. Everyone gets everything. Like each tier gets the same thing. It's just a choice of how much you want to spend. So there's a $5 tier, $7 tier, and a $10 tier. And you get access to everything. So check that out, patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. And if you want to support me without messing around with Patreon or just make a donation, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer. Okay, so later in the show, we're going to be reviewing the new Netflix rom-com Voicemails for Isabelle in a secondary review. But before that, we're going to go over some movie news and Indianapolis screenings before reviewing the latest DCU movie, Supergirl, in this week's feature review. And joining me this week is my friend and IFJA colleague, whose work can be found at MidwestFilmJournal.com, as well as in an upcoming episode of our friends Andy and Logan over at Odd Trilogies on their podcast. And he can be followed on Letterboxd at the handle of Joe R. Shearer. It's Joe Shearer. Welcome back to the show, Joe. How's it going this morning?
It's going very well. I'm very happy to be back. It's been, again, a while. Like I think last time we said, oh, it's been too long. And then I just proceeded to fall off the face of the earth again for a while.
Yes, you ghosted me. I've been trying to, I was leaving voicemails.
And I'm just like, don't respond. Don't respond. I mean, and we'll talk about that in Voicemails for Isabelle, that, ghosting was a part of that movie. And that was what I did. It was just unknowingly in preparation for today. So you guys are all very welcome that I stayed away this long, and I'll now that I'm back, I'll make up for it.
Nice. Well, it's great to have you back. I'm excited to talk to you about these 2 movies. But first, you've been, let's talk about some stuff you've done recently. So over at Midwest Film Journal, You have a review of Pitfall and Masters of the Universe, as well as
Yeah.
the upcoming Odd Trilogies episode that I referenced. What can you tell me about Pitfall and Masters of the Universe? I know that you're a big He-Man fan. How did
Yeah.
you feel about those movies?
So I obviously, go read the reviews and check those
Hmm.
out. But yeah, I Pitfall #1 made me long for the actual Pitfall movie we've never gotten, also, which would be based on a video game, the
Ah.
great old Atari game Pitfall,
Hmm.
which also would lend itself to a movie. Why has no one picked up on that? Maybe
Huh.
Activision or something has some weird rights things going on, but
Yeah.
this movie is not that. There is some falling into holes happening in that movie, but Pitfall is a horror movie. I believe it went straight to streaming, and it's just basically your typical slasher. Randy Couture plays the slasher, the villain, but oddly, I didn't know that until the end credits rolled and
Ah.
I saw his name. So basically, the idea is this group of people go out into the woods, and among them is a brother and sister who have some trauma issues with their parents who died in a car crash in front of them,
Oh.
and so one of them then falls into a hole filled with punji sticks, if you're familiar with those. I'm familiar with those from like World War II and Vietnam,
Ah.
guerrilla warfare tactics,
Mhm.
where basically you dig a hole of varying sizes, and inside of that hole, you put sharpened sticks, sharpened bamboo or
Oh.
I don't know, whatever wood he
Hmm.
used, whatever was laying around, but you sharpen them so that the person who falls in the hole is injured by them but not killed.
Mm.
So this killer's kind of MO is he traps people in these holes, and then
Mm.
he's a hunter. And I think that's actually his name is the Hunter.
Hmm.
So anyway, it's basically a slasher. That like I said, that little trauma element adds a little something, but still is, it's still just kind of a slasher movie, and it's not particularly great or inventive, but if you're into
Mhm.
those things, you might enjoy it. Which, obviously I do. I'm a huge fan of stuff like Friday the 13th and
Oh,
Halloween, and
yeah.
all of the sillier the slasher, the better.
Mhm.
You know that obviously,
Yeah.
but this is sort of a middling one. But if you're a fan, especially, go check it out. Masters
Nice.
of the Universe, yeah, I kind of saved for last on purpose.
Mhm.
But I if you read my review of Masters of the Universe, I'm a little bit conflicted by it. In a lot of ways, it's kind of the realization of lifelong dreams of, 6-year-old Joey was, as I was known then, playing with He-Man figures and wanting a movie, getting
Mhm.
one that was just not sufficient, and then never hearing anything of it again. So, my kind of final analysis is it was fine. It had
Mhm.
some really good stuff, had some stuff that really made me cheer and really gave me goosebumps, other things that made me roll my eyes a little bit, but, um, oddly, and I never thought I'd say this, the best thing about that movie was Jared Leto.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Skeletor was spot on and captured everything I wanted Skeletor to be. He was scary and, scary and vicious, but also really insecure and at
Hmm.
times kind of a buffoon. And it was just a pretty much a perfect portrayal of that character. And I don't really think if you like the cartoons, which most people do, or if you
Mhm.
are one of those weird people that's into the more like you want it to be more like the comic book, which I never really read,
Mhm.
but I think you get a little bit of both. So yeah, there's really nothing to complain about in terms of Jared Leto, although apparently the studio didn't agree because they cut him out of all of the press tour stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I don't know if that was their choice or his, but
Mm.
he wasn't there. Um, but I liked most of the stuff there. I wish there were a few things that I wish they would have done a little bit differently, but also it didn't do that well at the box office, so I don't know what
Yeah.
the prospects are for a sequel. I hope they're still going to have one
Mm.
because there's some really fun stuff that they were setting up, and stuff that sort of connects to, again, the movie that I will, one of the hills I'll die on is that the animated movie Secret of the Sword that actually was in theaters, and I think in 85 or 86, which is the introduction of She-Ra as a character. I still will maintain that's a very good underrated movie. It is 5 episodes stuck together, but
Mm.
it makes He-Man more vulnerable than anything it has ever done, and, you know, it's a pretty early kind of feminist sort of, movie in some ways for its time,
Hmm.
that I think it doesn't really get enough credit for. So, yeah, so I would say go check out that The Secret of the Sword if you have, I believe if you buy the one of the early She-Ra box sets, it's there. I watched it on YouTube just recently, so you can see it on YouTube. You can watch it on any. Actually, you can watch it, in 5 parts. For if you, I believe She-Ra is streaming on Amazon or not, yeah, Amazon Prime, I think is what it's streaming on
Okay.
now, so you can watch it there. And then, if you're not familiar with it, if you haven't seen it for a long time, I love it so much, and, I also would say go check out this movie if you haven't. It'll be on streaming pretty soon also, so, check it out and watch it, see what you think about it. I thought it was fine, had a few problems with it, but,
Hmm.
I like the updating overall, and I would love to see a sequel.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm glad that it didn't Dark Tower it for you like
Right,
the Dark
yeah,
Tower did for
yeah,
me. So
yeah.
that's good. And going back to Pitfall, I wanted to make this really dumb joke, but basically I'm glad that you explained what punji sticks are because I honestly I didn't know what they were when you said it. I kind of thought that it was the thing that I did in the bathroom earlier today. Um, dropped off some punji sticks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but
Well, also, I did about 150% more explanation as to what those sticks were than the movie did, so
oh,
I
okay.
I actually knew the name just because I happened to have gone to a war museum at some point
Uh,
in my life, and those were kind of a terrifying thought that, you're walking
yeah.
through the woods or through the forest, and suddenly you're falling and stabbed with something.
Hmm.
It's, I was like, "What a terrifying thing." And they kind of I don't wanna say they waste the gimmick of it, but they
Hmm.
sort of do because they really just rather than it being something that, there's no scene where they're all walking through like a clearing where there are most definitely some of these holes. It's like there's one hole that a guy falls in, and then he's in the hole for a lot of the movie. So
Okay.
it's like that's kind of the extent of it. It would have been more fun if they had found more inventive ways of bringing it into the story, but
Hmm.
but they were a little more focused on the drama part, I think, which is
Okay.
fine if you do a
Yeah.
good job on it, and they did sort of a passable job on that, that little family dynamic, but,
Nice.
but there are a lot of, like, people who say something in the midst of a conversation and then instantly become super angry and start yelling, and it's like, "Wait, why are we so angry all of a sudden?" Like, it's like, "Everybody stay calm. Also, you suck because of that time you left me when we were gonna go out."
Oh,
It's just like,
geez.
it's like dumb things
Yeah.
like that where these old wounds kinda come to the surface as, to create
Sure.
conflict, but
Yeah. God,
yeah.
who put a punji stick up that guy's ass?
Right,
Um,
really. There you go. That's a good one.
um, well, you can find Joe's work at MidwestFilmJournal.com and over at Odd Trilogies, where he's going to be making an appearance later this month. I will also be on Odd Trilogies, I think next week, actually.
Oh,
Talking about the rise of Nolan. So I was on there to review Following, Insomnia, and Memento. Really great time over there. They're doing great work over at Odd Trilogies. You can go to
yeah.
oddtrilogies.com as well to find all their stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
We talked a
yeah,
little bit of Nolan too while we were there.
nice.
I don't know if I wanna tell the movies we covered yet. It's a little far out. I'm
Hmm.
not sure if they're publicized it, but we talk
Yeah.
about a Nolan movie. One of our 3 is
Hmm.
a Nolan film.
Hmm. Nice, nice. Um, that Nolan film also will be playing. I think it'll be playing, or it may
Mhm.
have already played at Keystone Art. But anyway,
Oh.
um,
It definitely played at
yes,
Keystone Art at some point.
yes, yes. At some point in time,
Yeah,
it has and will probably again be played at Keystone Art.
yeah.
But speaking of which, do you want to go into what's playing this week in indie?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so I've got a few things here. Speaking of Keystone Art, on Wednesday, July 8th, I mentioned this last time. They're doing weekly Christopher Nolan movies throughout July. So Wednesday, July 8th is Inception, July 15th is Batman Begins, July 22nd is The Dark Knight, and July 29th is The Dark Knight Rises. I may go check out, well, I don't know. I'll probably check out Inception, honestly. But yeah, so that's over at Keystone Art. And then over at the Can Theater, which I forgot to mention also, over at the Can Theater, July 7th and 10th, they're playing Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, great movie.
Yeah. I've never seen it, so I might go check it out there.
Yeah.
But I forgot to mention that also on Patreon, I did a special Patreon recording of my thoughts after seeing, I saw the TV Glow at a VHS screening at Can, which I saw the night before I turned 40. And yeah, that was amazing. It was amazing. It was my second time seeing the movie. And seeing it on VHS added an interesting glint to it because of the nature of the movie. It kind of really was suited to a VHS screening. It was a packed house. It was great. It was fantastic. So I did recorded some thoughts and put it up on Patreon. So that's also over there. But yeah, Can July 7th and 10th, they're playing Boys in the Hood. I might go to that. We'll see. And then over at the Alamo Draft House, of course, the first and third Sunday of each month, our friend Lou Harry does movie trivia. Free to enter, free to play. Go alone or go with a group. Always a good time. This Sunday, the 5th, there will be one at 6 o'clock at Alamo. I might go to that since I will hopefully be seeing Once Upon a Time in China on Friday or on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
We'll see. We'll see if I stick around because I think the timing will time out to where I'll have like a couple of hours. Maybe I'll see another movie. But anyway. Also at Alamo tomorrow, if I get this posted today, tomorrow Lawrence of Arabia is playing, which I will be at, and then the aforementioned Once Upon a Time in China is playing on the 5th on Sunday. Both of those are at 12:30. Tickets are going fast. I'm excited for both of those because I'm gonna watch them for my back half blind spot series on Patreon. And rounding out playing this week in Indy in a couple of weeks on July 26th, the Alamo is going to be showing Rashomon, which I'm very excited about because last year when the 4K restoration kind of showing of Kurosawa movies was going around, I went to Can to see Rashomon, but the subtitles were messed up and they had to refund the tickets.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I'm going to have a chance to see Rashomon again. Yeah, and also in August, last thing, in August over at the Artcraft Theater, I think on August 6th, they're showing The Hidden Fortress, another Kurosawa movie. So a lot of stuff going on. Joe, do any of those stand out to you? Or are you going to see any of them? Or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll get to any of them, but Boys in the Hood is the one for me. That's a seminal film of my kind of adolescence, my early teenage years, and is just a fantastic movie. John Singleton's first, and he just came out, and I would probably argue he's never made anything that has matched that since, but not to disparage him at all, but that's just such a great movie.
Nice.
Good cast: Lawrence Fishburne, Morris Chestnut, Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr., Angela Bassett. It's and then Regina King. Was it Regina King? I think it's Regina King that's in it.
I think so.
In some early roles. There's a couple of Reginas. I might be confusing them.
Yeah.
Like during that time, there were a couple of actresses named Regina who were big. It's not Regina Hall. I'm pretty sure it's not Regina Hall. I think it's,
right.
She went on to become Cuba Gooding Jr.'s wife in Jerry Maguire, which was fun because they were, just in the same. They were just like in the same neighborhood in Boys in the Hood. But yeah, such a great movie. Go check that out. Also, I'll always pump up, Lou's trivia nights.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
have been there together. We won there. I've won there several times.
Yes.
I actually went just a couple of weeks ago, and there was a guy there sitting by himself to play, and so Elisha, my fiance, and I, we asked him to join our team, and then we proceeded to win.
Nice.
Probably would not have won if not for him because there were a few that he got that I didn't know, and ended up being pretty close. So, um,
Nice.
he gives out some prizes. So,
Mhm.
if you are over by the Alamo Draft House, go check that out for sure. Check
Mhm.
out one of these screenings and then come back and see do loose trivia. So
Oh, yeah.
it's a really good time. It's pretty accessible. There's some what I'd call like higher level, questions, but there's a lot of questions that, a normal average moviegoer should be able to get to. So
Oh, absolutely. It's such a good mix of that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he's a
Yeah.
really good host as far as,
Mhm.
like, he's not catering to trivia experts, not like our friend Nick Rogers,
Right.
who
Mhm.
I'm sure we've, had discussions about his recent experiences,
Oh, yes.
with trivia, sort of trivia-themed things that he's done, um, Pop Culture Jeopardy, but,
Mhm.
yeah, it's not, like, super hardcore stuff like that, although there's a little bit of things that are more challenging, but,
Oh, yeah.
but if you're a movie buff, you'll probably not be shut out,
Yeah.
Alicia, my fiance, she over and over every time we go, she's like, I'm no good, I can't help, I'm not helping with anything," and then she proceeds to pop off, 6 or 7
Mhm.
answers herself, so,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's a fun time, and, Lou's great, and,
Mhm.
uh, the Alamo Drafthouse is a great venue, so
Oh,
go check
yeah.
that out, especially if you've not been there,
Mhm.
it's, the dinner and a movie theme, and, we've had a couple of those, but I dare say this is the best one we've had,
Mhm.
um, and, I mean, Flix does okay too currently,
Yeah.
but, um, I don't know if anywhere else does it. Can doesn't do well, Can
Can
doesn't they're more of a
has a
bar.
restaurant. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do have, like, a bar and, I think now it's a pizza place, but,
Mhm.
they don't let any of that food into the theaters, so,
Okay, yeah, so this
yeah.
this is more of the Studio Movie Grill a few years back had the same thing. I don't know why I'm going into this. If you're listening to this podcast, you should know about Alamo Drafthouse by now, but, it's fun. It's a good time,
Oh, yeah.
and if you win at trivia, Lou will give you, something free there, most likely. I've
Mhm.
got a lot of free passes into things because I won the trivia, so,
Yeah.
um yeah, so, I'm almost at the stage of the game where I will say, if we do win, I'll probably just, like, give the passes on to somebody else because,
Nice.
you know but I wanna make sure I have a set of passes anyway all the time. So
Oh, absolutely,
so come
absolutely.
beat me, but also I'll mercy rule you.
Exactly. I still have my pass from when we won in January, and I
Oh,
might
yeah.
use that to see Once Upon a Time in China. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's such a great time. Highly recommend it. That's at the Alamo Draft House, the first and third Sunday of each month, including this upcoming Sunday. So,
Yep,
yeah, so after you've blown off some limbs with fireworks, go do movie trivia
yep,
at Alamo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So Joe,
make
before
sure you have your tourniquets on or have
exactly.
gotten your stitches by then because they don't like blood on the floor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like instead of mask up, like tourniquet up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So Joe, before we get to our reviews tonight or this morning because we're recording early,
Mhm.
um, would you like to go over some news before the reviews?
Let's go over the news.
All right. So I really only have two things. One being the news that broke a week or so ago. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is going to skip social media influencer screenings. And I wanted to bring this up because I have like this, and I feel like it's a sentiment that a lot of people in our circle kind of share.
Yeah.
I have this just like this feeling like influencers I don't like them.
Mhm.
I don't like the idea of just like I think that there is this misconception among the internet that like I saw there was a post about this that talked about how it was a terrible thing because influencers are the ones that you can trust because they're going to share their exact opinion because they're not real critics. They're free to say anything. and critics are the ones that are paid off and everything. And like, I still don't know if that was satire because it is so dumb, but
Yeah.
the reality is the influencers are the ones who are getting the benefits of getting to go to these screenings and to like premieres and stuff with the sole intention that they will post about the movie on social media and influence their viewers to see the movie. Like,
Mhm.
by its definition, that is not an objective review of a movie. That is them.
Right.
That's a marketing tactic, which
Uh,
that it's fine. Like, it's fine as long as you recognize that. And like, critics share their opinion about the movie, and like,
Yeah.
it's such a backwards kind of viewpoint. So I'm thrilled that social media influencers are not going to get to see the Odyssey early,
Yeah.
out of just like my very childish sort of
Mhm.
viewpoint of them. What do you make of this news, Joe?
Yeah, it's silly, and what a just, like, completely misguided viewpoint to have, you know? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I've been doing this since 2004, and I
Mm-hmm.
did it. I have never done it what I would call full-time, where it was my full-time job, but I did it, weekly for a major publication for 4.5 years. I owned my own website for more than a decade. I, have written for other outlets. I've done interviews. I've done the whole thing. And I can say without a doubt, I have never been paid to give any kind of a review. I know that that exists. I
Mm-hmm.
know that that's out there, but
Yeah.
I've never been paid by a studio to produce movie reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, back in the day, I had to decline opportunities to attend junkets where they
Mm-hmm.
were flying you places and putting you up, which is its own form of bribery,
Mm-hmm.
on the part of studios trying to butter you up and make you, giving you these fun, lavish trips and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what influencers do is that
Yeah.
they get that stuff. And I very rarely seen an influencer come out and go, "Oh, that movie's terrible." It's always,
Right. Oh
yeah, like
yeah.
this is just, yeah, they're hype men. They're not even really critics. So, and that's not to disparage them, like whatever. If you get money for that, good for you. But
Yeah.
uh that's your choice. And that, but yeah, it's funny to see that griping and complaining from people and them trying to say that critics aren't, you know, the thing. But it's
Right.
weird anyway because that line is blurring kind of more and more every day anyway.
Yeah.
We're not we're most of us do not even get paid at all for doing this kind of stuff. And
Right.
y- and if we do, it's kind of our own hustle. It's Patreon,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
it's you're monetizing it in some way like that. But no one is giving you a paycheck even for writing and or, in our case, recording, sharing
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts on a movie. That's not been really a thing for the last 15 years or so now, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, because I would still love to do it. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's just like I think when you go to critics, you should be at least a little more uh, confident that what you're getting is an actual opinion and not, the result of, studios, buttering you up, sweetening you up a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's silly.
It
That's a
absolutely
silly take
is.
to have.
And that's something that I can't really wrap my head around is just this idea that I mean, the idea that critics are paid off or whatever, like that's just stupid conspiracy theory things. It goes to the thing that's been going around the internet that I have seen where it's everything is a conspiracy if you don't understand how anything works.
Yeah.
It's kind of that kind of ethos, but like when it comes to social media influencers versus like critics, not that it's like an either or thing, but there has to be like you have to have just a modicum of like media literacy to realize that
Mhm.
that that it is like you said, they're hype men. Like
Yeah.
influencers are hype men, and it is there is a gray area there that it's becoming like as social media and everything is always becoming more and more prevalent, and the point of access for content creation in terms of having like equipment that's very budget friendly, like that makes it a lot more ubiquitous and a lot more prevalent on the internet and everything. So there is like this middle ground or whatever. But what I can't wrap my head around is people thinking that like, oh, if a critic doesn't like a movie, it's because they're paid off, or they if they like a movie, that I didn't like, that means that they're influenced by something else. It's like, no, it's just people sharing their opinions about something. And the reason that people go to critics for those things are because critics make that their personality, but also it makes it like it's their passion. It's like we talk about movies because we love movies and because we really have a respect for the medium and everything. So like if you go to a critic and like you're not going to a critic to reinforce your feelings about a movie or to understand why you feel about a movie. You're going to a critic because you want to know what that critic thinks about a movie. And it's asinine to think that like, oh, okay, well, we got to go to the State Museum to see the Odyssey, so we're going to give it 10 stars or 5 stars or whatever. It's
Mhm.
like, no, that's never the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, yeah, the old missive my first editor actually gave me about a critic was because someone wrote in and said that my reviews were dumb and that I was dumb and that they needed to fire me and bring them on as the movie critic for the magazine. And he laughed and laughed at that and the email and said, it's not the critic's job to agree with everybody or to, yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
to reinforce that you liked a movie. You're supposed to have a relationship with a critic, ideally. You would read their reviews or watch their reviews, listen to their reviews, on a regular basis, and you can form an opinion as to whether you wanna see a movie based on that.
Yeah.
But because they pan a movie doesn't mean that you have to not like it. You should be
Right.
able to go and form your own opinion, and there's a point where you can read a critic and say, "Yeah, he didn't like that. I probably will like it." And then go see it yourself.
Yeah.
You can overlap in some ways and not in others. It's just it's funny how people will go and we here in Indianapolis we still have a local sports columnist and I read him sometimes
Mm.
but the thing I mostly read are the comments where people are just like, "Oh, there he is being stupid, having a stupid take on something," and
Mm.
it's like because it doesn't overlap with yours doesn't make it stupid. I mean, he still is
Right.
relatively reasoned most of the time. So it's like, but if you don't agree with it, fine, but
Yeah.
you keep reading, that's the most important part. So,
Mhm.
people who wanna come and read and trash our opinion, that's fine. Go ahead. Just keep
Yeah.
reading or listening or watching. And, you can think we're dumb all you want, but if you're watching us, we're getting the thing we need to get. So,
Yes.
this is what
Which
we
is
want more than anything.
validation from strangers on the internet.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Whether you, random person listening to this, agrees with me, that's what I'm really concerned with, is whether
Yeah,
you think
yes.
that my opinion is the correct opinion to have. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
really
yeah, and not to get too deep in the weeds with this, but, like, this
yeah,
kinda goes back to something that our friend Evan brings up a lot, is this idea that people are more willing to watch a 2-hour YouTube video breaking down something rather than watch the thing and form their own opinion about it. Like,
yeah, mhm,
that is such a bleak reality we live in.
yeah, mhm, yeah, really, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember watching sorry, I'm gonna be old now.
Oh, you're fine.
I remember playing video games when I was a kid, and, your friend comes and they're taking up the game and they're playing
Mm.
an old two-player game one at a time, and you're waiting for your turn, or, your brother or sister or whatever is playing a game and you're waiting for your turn and you're just like, "Will you just die already so I can play?"
Mhm.
That version of me would have thought someone watching a video of someone giving commentary while they play a video
Mhm.
game is just the worst thing I can think of in my life. It's like but people do that, and I get in this
Yeah.
day and age, there's walkthroughs and,
Mhm.
I would have loved to have had those kinds of things. We did have those things in, a magazine called Nintendo Power,
Yep.
um otherwise but that was like a magazine article and it would have screenshots and before
Mhm.
screenshots were even a thing, but, um,
Mm.
today they have these full videos that, that my kids watch where it's literally just someone playing. They're not even necessarily like doing a walkthrough of a game. They're just playing a
Yeah.
round of Among Us or, or playing Minecraft or something. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, what are you guys doing?
Right.
And I was like, I'm watching this and then a thing. It's like, you're watching someone play Among Us? Like, that's just the most boring thing I can think of.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
well, yeah, but
Oh,
they're
yeah.
screaming and they're like yelling and saying bad words. And it's like, that's still doesn't make it any better to me.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Kids these days.
I know, right? This is our old men yell at clouds segment of the podcast. But anyway, I'm excited for the Odyssey regardless.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited to go to my early access screening.
Me too. Yeah. Once Nolan's check clears, I'm excited to give it a glowing review.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway. To be clear, that's not the case. Anyway,
no, definitely not.
So the other piece of news I have, it'll be brief. It's more of this is a social media influencer thing, really. Barnes & Noble is currently doing their 50% off Criterion sale throughout the month. I think it ends like the 26th or something of this month. But I have kind of caught the bug because this ties in really well because if I'm like scrolling TikTok and stuff and I see like all these like, oh, Criterion hauls, it's like the movies that people bought during the sale. And I'm like, I'm getting kind of FOMO. Like I kind of want to get it. So I've made a few purchases just because I'll justify them and everything. But first, Joe, are you a physical collector at all, or?
I have a physical collection, but I would not have called myself a physical collector for quite a while. But I actually am thinking about going and checking that out too, because I don't know if I have any Criterion
Oh, wow.
currently. Now listen, I've run through thousands and thousands of titles in my life. I've had, I used to get sent review copies of everything way back in the day, and I probably have had a few Criterion versions of films, but because they stacked up so much, like literally to the ceiling at times, and I would load them, and we used to give them away as prizes and stuff at movie screenings and things like that. But I kind of got rid of most of my collection. I oddly, until very recently, had most of my year-end screeners that they used to give out a lot more physical copies, and I had hundreds and hundreds of those that I just recently kind of pared down. That's technically against the rules, but I don't think anybody cares at this point. And then we have some Blu-rays, some DVDs, and I just got a 4K TV, so I might get myself a 4K player, and we're going to be having one of our little shindigs at my house coming up, so getting ready for that. Just gotta buy a new couch first, and then we'll really be ready to roll.
Looking forward to that. And yeah, it's funny you say that about 4K, because I do not have a 4K TV yet. I plan to get one at some point in the relatively near future, but I do have a PS5 which does play 4K Blu-ray, so like I'm set there. I just need the TV. So with that caveat, the purchases I made were I did 2 upgrades because I have I posted this on Instagram and everything, but basically, and I'll show it for the videos, for the video viewers. So I bought 7 Samurai on 4K, which is, of course, my all-time favorite movie. Just hands down. I now own 3 copies of this damn thing. The DVD, the Blu-ray, and now the 4K. So I might pare that down too. I might sell the other 2, but that's the other thing, is I have been paring down my physical collection a lot. Like I'll go to like Half Price Books and like sell some stuff, because I'm like, okay, well, this is like I have a bunch of MCU and Pixar movies on Blu-ray that are just collecting dust, because it's like I can just throw it on Disney Plus or whatever. Plus I have digital collection on Vudu or Fandango at home. So I will go and sell off things, and like some of those are Criterion boxes, like Criterion editions that I've sold. Now I'm thinking like, man, I'm kind of getting the bug to get Criterion, so I might like go buy back like The
Mhm.
Great Escape or something from Half Price Books, my copy of it. But anyway,
Yeah.
I got Seven Samurai, and then I also upgraded to the 4K of Stray Dog, which is
Okay.
post-war Kurosawa noir. With Toshiro Mifune and Takashi Shimura. One of my favorite Kurosawa movies, honestly.
Uh-huh.
And I was excited because like these 4Ks are 4K plus Blu-ray. So like there is Blu-ray in there, but
Mhm.
I'm excited because I previously only had the DVD version of Stray Dog.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the other two that I got, which is this is just my unboxing haul basically. The other two that I got are two movies that I'm gonna do for my back half blind spots series on Patreon in a couple of weeks. But the first one is Peter Bogdanovich's debut Targets with Boris Karloff.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched that last night. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
Um, and like I watched it and it's really, really good. It's such an interesting mix of like Boris Karloff plays this uh aging horror icon, much like Boris Karloff.
Sure.
Um and he is retiring from the business, and there's a parallel sort of story that is being followed with this completely unconnected guy who's this deeply disturbed guy who's buying up guns, and he's planning this mass shooting. And the way that that converges is so like there's a lot that this movie's saying that is just really fascinating to me. I really liked it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm going to talk about that on Patreon in the coming weeks. And the final thing that I got was the 4K edition of William Friedkin's Sorcerer.
Oh, nice.
Um, yes, I have not seen this. I love The Wages of Fear, so I've been very excited to see William Friedkin's kind of take on that story. And like the thing, like watching all the TikToks and social media posts of people like doing their haul like I just did.
Yeah.
I keep imagining like what if I did that, but I did like a goofy version of it where it's like, yeah, okay, this is Target. This is Targets because I really love those kind of department store stories.
Yeah.
And like Sorcerer, like, oh yeah, Doctor Strange is like my favorite Avenger, so I'm excited for anything with sorcerers in it.
All right.
So
Uh-huh.
so yeah, so that's my Criterion haul. My plan is to hopefully get Mean Streets and Raging Bull
Okay.
soon. Both of which I have not seen, so
Uh-huh.
that's another thing for like Patreon.
Very nice.
Um so yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, that's my Criterion haul. Any thoughts?
Very nice. Yeah, that you know what you should do? You should make your own Criterion closet where you go into
Yes.
your own closet and just
Hmm.
have those movies, next to your clothes on the shelf somewhere, and then just be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna pick this one," and, like, sit there and talk about
Yes.
how much you love it, and
I like
and then, like,
that.
throw it in a little bag. Like, that'd work. I
Yeah.
think that would work.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That would be nice. That would be good. I do have a bunch of other Criterions too, just from like having like I said, I've got Seven Samurai. I've got I believe I have all of the released Kurosawa Criterion editions, including Ron, which is out of print.
Yeah.
And I want to say the Lower Depths might be out of print too, but um yeah, I'm it between the Kubrick release that's coming up that kind of piqued my interest, and this Criterion sale. It's like I need to, maybe I'll build back up some uh Criterion collection stuff, because like I've also got like the Before trilogy and Zatoichi and the Samurai trilogy. I've got a bunch of stuff, so I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Love the Criterion stuff, so
Me too. And that's the other thing, and this will be the final thing before we get to the reviews, but
yeah.
um the final thing about that is when I'm getting them, and I'm going to be like when I watch a movie for my back half blind spots
Mhm.
segment on Patreon, like with Targets or Sorcerer or what have you, my plan is that before I'm going to watch the movie like I did last night with Targets, and then today I'm going to watch like all of the bonus features,
Mhm.
and then I'll probably either watch the movie again or I'll watch it with commentary, and then that's when I'll like record my part for Patreon. So that's my plan with the Criterion stuff. So yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. So once again, you can sign up at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for that. And yeah, with that segment closed, Joe, are you ready to go into our feature review of this episode?
Let's talk about it.
Perfect. So, of course, we're going to do a non-spoiler review followed by a spoiler review. When we switch to spoilers, I'll play a little bumper music there, and then we'll go into spoilers. If you want to navigate around that, check the show notes for timestamps. Those timestamps and show notes are also available at obsessiveviewer.com/OV510. And for our feature review today, we're going to be talking about Supergirl, which was released in theaters on my birthday, June 26, 2026, and it is currently playing in theaters still. The premise, according to IMDb, is Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, joins forces with an unlikely companion on an interstellar journey of vengeance and justice when an unexpected adversary strikes too close to home. Director for this movie was Craig Gillespie, and writer was Anna Naguiri. And the cast includes Millie Alcock, Eve Ridley, Jason Momoa, Matthias Schoeneritz, and David Cornsweet. So, non-spoiler thoughts on Supergirl. Let's talk about it. How do you feel about this? About this entry in the newly minted DCU?
Yeah, it was fine. That's kind of what I want to say about it. It was not the best superhero movie I've seen not by a long shot. Neither was it the worst, but
Mhm.
it was fine. It introduces the Supergirl character, gives her kind of her distinct personality in the DCU, gives her her own kind of mostly solo adventure, and we know where she's out running around doing things. It has a little bit of a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe.
Mhm.
She's running, around interstellar kind of locales, so to speak, um, kind of adventuring around space, and meets a little girl whose parents were murdered by this evil overlord type. His name was
Mhm.
Krem, and he is a scary dude with a lot of like, they look like piercings, but I think they're really like things glued to his face.
he's bedazzled,
Yeah,
or
there's a
whatever.
scene where someone headbutts him. Well, this is the non-spoiler review, but there's a scene where someone headbutts him, and then that person gets those little things stuck on their head. They come out of his
Yeah.
head and get stuck onto their head. I'll say their head to not to mask gender,
Mhm.
because whether it's a male or a female isn't really that consequential at this point. So that was kind of just like a little funny aside about it. But yeah, so this little girl who appears to be, I don't know, 12, is bent on killing this man who is obviously a psychopathic killer, who
Mhm.
is a grown ass man, and probably super powered himself. Um, he is at least capable of like fighting Supergirl in a way. So
Mhm.
that's kind of your baseline. He's much more powerful than your average little girl, who would
Right.
come and kill him with a sword. And so she so Supergirl, of course, encounters this girl and then kind of helps her along on this journey. And there's a little bit of a Batman Forever vibe there, where she is, Supergirl is Batman to Ruthie's Robin, who is bent on getting bloody revenge for the death
Mhm.
of her parents in this case. And Supergirl is the one running around going, vengeance won't heal your soul, like it will only make things worse. And she's like, I don't care, I'm gonna see this dude stabbed. So uh, and of course along the way there's a lot of various misadventures, a couple of
Mhm.
fun characters, one very kind of hotly anticipated character that I'm sure we're going to talk about in a minute.
Mhm.
um, but the biggest takeaway I have from this, the biggest observation I have from this movie, is that they have those, all the in the movie theater world now, these popcorn buckets and collectors cups and things are like all the rage. The
Mhm.
Supergirl cup is very like weird, because if you turn it a certain direction, it looks like a penis.
It
because
does.
it's basically like the look of it is like the Supergirl, like it's her uniform, but she's wearing like this
Mhm,
trench coat with a weird like bunchy hood in the back, and so it looks pretty lewd when you look at it a certain way. The
mhm.
biggest thing I noticed was she never wears that outfit in through the whole movie. She wears that jacket, she
Oh,
wears the
yeah.
Supergirl suit, but she never wears them together, and
Huh.
it's just such the weirdest thing where it's like it's ostensibly then based on the poster art, which if you look at
Mhm.
the, the promo art for it, you'll see her wearing the jacket with the suit. She doesn't do it in the movie, so it was like, what a weird what a weird, like, silly thing that you created with the cup for something that really
Yeah.
doesn't even happen in the movie.
I'm curious if that I mean, I assume that it's probably all done at the same like, the marketing was done at the same time, and they probably developed it, like, in tandem with the posters,
Yeah.
stuff. But, like, it also makes me question I wonder if there's a lot that's cut out of the movie because this is
Uh-huh.
a sub 2-hour movie. This is, like, an
Yeah,
hour and 48 minutes, which
yeah.
I count as kind of a relief. Like, one of the things that I also thought the movie was fine.
Mhm.
Nothing really to write home about or anything, but the things that I did appreciate about this movie were the standalone aspects of it. So like it's not over encumbered with a bunch of mythology and lore that's setting up like some big thing in the DCU.
Yeah.
Like it's not anything like big like that. It's a pretty contained story. It
Uh-huh.
focuses on the character of Supergirl and of Eve Ridley's character,
Mhm. Ruthie.
Ruthie. It tells that character story with them and there's no post-credit scene, there's no mid-credit scene, there's not even mid-credits, it's just it goes right into the, like,
Mhm.
regular credits.
Yeah.
And I was really relieved by that because it it's this the era that we're in now, like, and we've been in for how like 2 decades now at this point,
Mhm.
um, of this shared universe thing, like, I'm really relieved that what they're doing at DC is apparently like they're doing this focused thing where we're not going to have like everything leading up to one big Justice League movie or anything. It's all like these things like they're informing each other. Like obviously David Cornsweet pops up in this movie in a few scenes as Superman, but it is tied obviously to the plot of this movie
Yeah.
and the character arc for Supergirl. So I really liked that about it, and I can't fault it too much for any of the things that didn't work that well just because it's relatively brief,
Mhm.
in comparison to other superhero movies, and it's also pretty self-contained.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a very fine little story.
Mhm,
It does go into Kara Zor-El's origin. There's a little kind of segment in
mhm,
the middle there that deals with Argo City. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if it is something that will play into later films, they're not hyping that up right now.
yeah,
You don't really see a lot of like ancillary characters popping up, or there's not like a brief cameo of some character that is going to that is very obviously going to be a major antagonist down the road or something. There's no like
right.
Doctor Doom scene or Thanos scene or whatever.
Mhm,
This is all about her, about establishing her character.
mhm,
And it's good because I've seen a lot of different versions of Supergirl over the years.
mhm,
There's the very earnest, like the Helen Slater kind of portrayal where it's a little more earnest and Superman like. I've seen animated versions where Supergirl was a little more warrior like, a little more than Superman was, less kind to the human race, and a little more of like an alien outsider. Um, there's been like the real like kind of teenage girl Supergirl who's like blonde, and the DC, the Justice League Unlimited version of Super. Like there
mhm,
are so many different versions of this character that I don't know that there's a definitive one. So this one that we get, and there's been a lot of kind of complaining that's like, oh, this is not how she is. She's like this and this and this. And it's like, I don't know how she is. I've seen her in, 8 or 10 different permutations. So this one is
yeah,
as good as any. She's sort of a party girl. She goes
mhm,
off to she kind of goes on these voyages to other planets where, you know, like, it'll be a planet in a red sun system so that she can
Yep.
go and party and get drunk, and because in a yellow sun environment, she can't get drunk because she's, you know, she's Supergirl.
Mhm.
And, it was kind of fun to see that as a little kind of, a mirror image of Superman, who was, you know, the big blue Boy
Mhm.
Scout, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's literally his nickname, and, there is a little fun bit where he talks about how colorful the suit is to, you know, to Kara, and tells her, you know, "Don't worry, you'll get used to it. It's kind of just, like, there to make people like us more." And it's like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty, like, astute observation. So,
Yeah.
this has a little bit of a different vibe, coming from a different
Mhm.
than Superman was just, what, last year. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but
And I like that. I
yeah,
like that kind of, that the way that it kinda has that mirror effect of it because it and this is something that, I'll kinda speak about in more general terms, but basically that whole, like, I guess what the internet would call messy version of Supergirl, like, she's celebrating her 23rd birthday
yeah,
on an extended vacation, but it's obviously her, running away from, like, her doubts and her feelings about her place in the universe. She doesn't have, like, her people or anything. Um and I love the way that that is contrasted, from Superman because Superman, Clark Kent, he had a home. He grew up on Earth,
mhm,
and he he has that formative thing. That's why he is the Boy Scout guy.
yeah,
Kara, she lost her home because she lost everything, and she has to live with that loss, like being conscious of it and cognizant of it. And I think that there is this level of, I guess light expectation that's put on her by Superman to be a Superman person.
yeah,
But she's not there yet. She doesn't know what she is because she lost everything. And I really like the way that that's explored in this movie. So much
mhm,
so that, like, I didn't have a problem with it being like Party Girl, Supergirl, but I did find it interesting that the conversation, or like, this is where I'm going to get kind of in broad talks about it, but
yeah,
the conversation surrounding, like, really any female fronted anything, it's exhausting. There's a lot of, like, bad faith arguments. There's a lot of, like, incel behavior, like trolling and stuff. But I find it interesting that we have a lot of different, like female fronted iterations of superheroes and everything. So, like, I think back to, like, Wonder Woman and, Captain Marvel and,
mhm,
like, any other examples. But I find it interesting that this one is like that. It feels like it is a more, it's a more nuanced approach, or it's less of a, like, girl power sort of thing. It's more of a fully, like, rounded character. Like, it's not like, as much as I love, like, Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit whenever they have the, like, girl power moment,
yeah,
um where they're like, oh, she's not alone, and it's like it's all of the, like, women of the MCU at once. And, like, I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem with the way that it seems to be kind of pandering, and it kind of
yeah,
just seems like it's put in there just for service to, like, female audience. Here we
uh-huh,
have, like, an actual character arc for a character who is a woman, but isn't like this pinnacle of, like, super girlness. Like, she's not like Captain Marvel is someone who's, like, kind of overpowered.
yeah,
And Wonder Woman is like a goddess, like, literally. Here we have a 23-year-old who's dealing with massive trauma in her past and trying to work that out while also trying to help a young girl not go down the wrong path while she is also struggling with finding her path. Like, it's a more nuanced superhero thing, superhero depiction than we've seen in the past in this kind of genre.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I think that, um, that approach, especially that relationship between Kara and Ruthie is really it starts off fast, and and it's your typical, like, "Leave me alone, kid, I'm busy," kind of relationship that grows into, a deeper caring relationship, but essentially Supergirl's main arc, and I wrote this actually in my Letterboxd review, which is very short, just a couple paragraphs, but
Mm,
I think her main thrust is it's not getting revenge, it's not taking care of her dog who, is the kind of the main plot point that Crypto
mm,
has been poisoned by this guy, and he has the antidote, and she has a certain amount of time to get it back. It's really about her helping a little girl not become like her,
mhm,
and that's that's really the main thrust, and it's really kind of interesting. It's they're not chasing a mystical sword or a
right,
dagger or a jewel that has magic powers. It's just a very simple, you know, I want to make this girl be a little more okay than she is, and
mhm,
that's really fun and refreshing, I think. Um, and along the way, you just get to see some fun. Um, Like I said, kinda like Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Wars kind
mhm.
of environments, like an interstellar Greyhound bus basically where
Yeah.
they're on this essentially a bus going from one planet to another, and, you get to see all these, like, strange characters and, people who could pop up in other movies, or at least
Mhm,
races, species that could pop into another movie sometime. But it's fun. That's in that so in that sense, it's its own little world building thing, but
mhm,
it's not super, um, self-conscious about it. It's not like, "Oh,
mhm.
look, you're of this race, and, you're gonna pop up later on." It's not like, and it's not, I don't think it's either a Star Wars thing where it's like, "Oh, look, here's somebody with a weird head or a weird face or something, and they're called this, like, very weird thing." You just see a lot of different species there, and you don't get weird information about them that you don't really
Yeah,
need because a screenwriter or a team of screenwriters sat in a room and was like, "We have to develop backstories for all these people."
right.
That is something that I love, by the way, as a longtime Star Trek fan, but
Mm,
I don't need it in every bit of everything that I get, and I think it's
yeah.
very fine that we don't have that. That can also be built later. It is the
Mhm,
screenwriter's job to do that stuff and let it stay in the background when necessary and not let it come out unless it needs to, and
yeah.
so hopefully we'll get that, and maybe at some point we'll
Mhm,
get some more information on some of these people and not just have, "Here's a new race for the sake of having a new race," and
yeah.
yeah, but,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but it's fun. It adheres mostly, I
Mhm,
think, to the Superman rules. Um,
mhm.
there is I've actually seen a couple of things maybe we'll get into in spoilers, as far as people's gripes there. People are perceiving a certain plot hole that doesn't exist. Uh,
Uh,
I'm almost certain we'll talk about it during the spoiler part, but yeah, this is just a very fine, middle of the road, 3-star kinda movie. So,
yeah.
that's kinda how I feel about it. Millie Alcock does
S
fine. She does a
Oh, yeah.
she plays this role very well. She gives Supergirl a good look for, it's, um, a kind of a good visual style, if you wanna call it that.
Mhm.
Like I said, the party girl routine, her hair is kind of messy a lot. She's not perfectly
Yeah.
kempt, her suit is not particularly revealing or anything.
Mhm.
So it's just like you get to focus on just who she is, what she's doing, and kind of her general arc, and you don't have to worry about a whole lot of other stuff. So that's
Exactly.
yeah, it's like, why not?
And, like oh, yeah, and, like, the whole and, like, this is an easy thing to point out, but, like, there's no romantic subplot, there's no, like,
Yeah,
romantic interest or anything, like, it is solely her story and Ruthie's story, and it's not muddled with anything, which is why I bring up, like, the MCU thing with the kind of, like, she's not alone kind of,
mhm,
like, girl power moment, because that feels like it is in those movies, it feels like it's something that's put in there just to check a box,
yeah,
and there's nothing in this movie that really feels like it's checking any boxes, whether it be for world building for the shared universe or like getting the interests of any like demographic or anything. It's just it's a very self-contained and straightforward story in that respect. And it's interesting because, like, I also, like I said, I also thought this movie was fine. I ended up rating it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd,
Mhm.
and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Um, I feel like it exists in this middle ground between like Superman, which I loved Superman. I thought that was
Mhm.
great. Um, and it exists between that and like the old DCEU, which was mostly garbage. Like
Yes.
there's this middle ground here where this is like this isn't breaking any new ground. This isn't doing anything too like radical or anything, but it is an enjoyable time. It's an enjoyable story, and the performances are all across the board pretty good, and the action is pretty good too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I think in terms of just enjoyability, I think it's probably more enjoyable than most anything in the DCEU,
Mhm.
not called Harley Quinn, as far as an
Right.
individual character goes or, an individual arc. Like she had fun more than most of the people. Superman was not having that much fun. Batman sure as hell wasn't having that much fun
Right.
in that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I guess Aquaman kind of did. He was a little more
Mhm.
yahoo, yeehaw kind of, but
Right.
speaking of someone who's in this movie,
Yeah.
um,
Yep. Do we wanna
but
talk about that in non-spoilers or
I mean, it's he's on the posters, right?
I
Isn't he
mean,
on
yeah,
the
yeah,
poster? Yeah,
he's
so it's not
in
a
the
spoiler
marketing and
that
everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
What did you think of Jason Momoa as Lobo?
yeah, I was oddly kind of underwhelmed with him,
Mm,
and I think most of it was scripting.
mm,
And it's fine, but, I don't think he was bad, and he was for a decade plus. I mean, honestly, since he got cast as Aquaman, everyone was like, "Why isn't he just Lobo? He should be Lobo, and he's gonna be amazing." And then there was kind of this groundswell of support for, Jason Momoa as Lobo, and then he gets it, but then he just kind of, like, pops into this film, like, throws a
mm.
cigar in his mouth and, kills a bunch of people, rides around. We just don't see him do that much, and
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Maybe he pops up later and is more of an actual villain. He was certainly an in-betweener here. He fights on
Mhm.
Supergirl's side most of the time. Maybe that's a bit of a spoiler, but,
Yeah.
he's not, he's not much of an antagonist. He's more of a, um,
Kind
I'm
of an
trying to think.
anti-hero sort of.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
certainly an anti-hero. He's, maybe kind of in the vein of a Namor, what, is kind of moving toward
Yeah.
in Marvel. I'm trying to think of, like, who the Punisher, I suppose, is kind of the same way where but a little less so because we all know the Punisher is actually a hero and not a villain,
Right.
but he's basically one of those outlier characters that does what he
Mhm,
wants, and, sometimes he'll be a bad guy, sometimes he'll be a good guy. It would have been fun
mm,
to maybe see him fighting Superman as a villain and then
mm.
run into him, in a different environment here where he's less of a villain. But,
Yeah.
we got what we got, and he's very fine. I think,
Mhm.
I'm certain he'll be in future films, playing this
Yeah.
character and will have a lot more to do. He'll probably get his own movie at some point,
Oh, yeah.
it kinda seems like something they'd wanna do, but um, yeah, but he just was around, kinda gave a normal Jason Momoa performance, and
Mhm.
it's funny because I was saying, he was recently in the Minecraft movie,
Oh,
and
yeah.
when he showed up in that, I was like, "Oh god, Jason Momoa is gonna be stupid, and, he's gonna be, dude bro and with a heart of gold," uh, and he was that, but damn it if I couldn't help but like him in that.
Yeah, he has such a likable presence to him that even if he's playing, like, someone who's, like, what is kind of he's kind of being typecast as a little bit, like, he's
Yep.
still enjoyable, and that's
Mhm.
like, you're right that obviously, Lobo will likely be in other DCU movies and everything, but it doesn't feel like this is a stepping stone toward that. This isn't like the introduction of Lobo, and he's gonna be
Yeah.
like a big figurehead there. He's just, like, very contained to the story, he's relevant to the story, um, and yeah, I thought he was fine. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was fine, and he did a good job, and he's just sort of like happens to be around when things happen.
Yeah.
And then later on he comes back, but this is not like something where you see him, he's like, "I'm not gonna help that girl," and he, like, takes off,
Right.
and he has, like, an attack of conscience. It's not one of those things. It's like he pops in to do a job and is kind of foiled, and he disappears for a little bit, and then he comes back kind of toward the end because he's finishing his job, and,
Yeah.
it happens to coincide with what they're doing, and he doesn't hijack the movie at all. He's just there
Right.
messing around a little bit, but this is very clearly, Kara Zor-El's movie
Mhm.
and Ruthie's movie also, but,
Mhm.
um, yeah, he's there and does a fine job and kinda gets the hell out. It's kinda nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And with that, should we go into spoilers for
Yeah.
Supergirl, Joe? All right. Before we actually get to spoilers, I do want to say an anecdote that I thought was kind of funny. Like there is this trend on TikTok and social media that it's a play on like the performative male. So like there's like bits where people will do like them like a man standing like grimacing and like with anger and being like the caption will be like me when I think about how unfair it is that women have periods. And so like it's this like parody of like allyship and everything, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there's been a trend where people are like where it's like what did you think of Supergirl? And, and the response is you have to be more specific. There's 4.1 billion of them. Um which is always good for a laugh with me.
Yeah.
So, with that, we're gonna go ahead and go into spoilers. I'm gonna play a bit of a bumper thing to separate the spoiler from the non-spoiler. Before we go into spoilers, you can follow Joe on Letterboxd at Joe R. Shearer, link in the show notes. Joe, what did you rate this on Letterboxd again?
I believe I gave it 3 out of 5, and,
Nice.
it's, I could be I mean, I'd say 3 and a quarter if we wanted to
Mhm.
break it down like that. Maybe
Yeah.
not quite 3.5, but, certainly we're a solid 3 at the very least.
Nice. And I gave it 3.5 stars, which again, same as Joe. It's like
Mhm.
it's fine. It's
Yeah.
good. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and go into spoilers. I'm gonna play the bumper here. When we come back, we're gonna be spoiling Supergirl.
Schizo, cause Schizo is Isabelle.
What the fuck are you saying?
I stepped into a private trap back there.
Clever girl. Do you want to take a leap of faith?
I'm afraid I can't do that.
That was longer than a heartbeat.
Yeah, say that again.
That was longer than a heartbeat.
Hey, tell me about it.
That was longer than...
Okay, we get the point.
All right, and spoilers on for Supergirl. Once again, it's in theaters now.
Mhm.
Where should we begin with spoilers, Joe?
Yeah, Crypto doesn't die.
Right. Yes, the dog does not die, thankfully. I
Yeah.
will say I was kind of like I know that a big part of the plot is Crypto's in danger and
Uh-huh.
she needs to get the antidote and everything.
Yeah.
I wanted more Crypto in the movie.
Yeah, we got surprisingly little, yeah.
Yeah, which I understand. Like I mean, he would have probably pulled focus from
Yeah.
Supergirl and Ruthie and that story, but he was so prominent in Superman that I love the little guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's a lot of fun, but, and this is where that perceived plot hole comes in that
okay.
I've had and actually my stepson said it himself, which I
Mm,
excuse because, he's, 10 years old.
mhm.
But I've also seen adults repeating this in comments on different social channels where they were like, "Well, Supergirl got shot with the same dart, and then she just went into the sun and healed herself." And I was like, the Krem very clearly he shoots her with these darts and then tells her, "These are new darts. These have kryptonite in them."
Yeah.
And you see
Oh,
then the green substance in her bloodstream that comes in through these darts, and it's like that's different than what Crypto got shot with, where there was a blue liquid of the blue toxin of some sort, and they very clearly spell this out. All you gotta do is, like, listen to people speak in this movie,
yes.
and you can kind of, determine that. So, the veterinarian or whatever that Kara takes Crypto
Mhm.
to, it says, "This is a toxin that will kill him. The only way you can cure it is to, give him this antidote." and that I don't think that's going to change if you
Wow.
take him to Yellow Sun.
Yeah.
Like
I
all you got to do is say that. All you got to do is say the words. It's like
yeah.
saying earmuffs. It's like doing earmuffs. If you say earmuffs, you can say whatever you want. You know,
I
you can also like excuse certain things through dialogue. This is
Mm.
why we have it.
Yes.
Make things
Th
clear.
I didn't know that was a thing going on, like an argument going on, and that
Yeah.
just it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it
yeah.
is
So
yeah.
Slayer actually said to us at the end, he was like, "Well, why? Like this doesn't make sense because Supergirl just had to go into the sun to get cured from the thing when the guy shot her, but Crypto, like, why didn't she just take Crypto to the sun?" And we were like, "No, that was different. That was a poison. It was inside of his
Mm.
bloodstream." And I don't, and it was kind of made clear that this is the only way to save him. You can't move him because it'll accelerate things. So even if she wanted to try that first, she really couldn't, is what
Yeah.
the doctor told her, whoever that person was. It's like that's just what the story is. Like there it is. And also hers was
Yeah.
different because it was kryptonite and
Right.
went into the
Completely different.
right.
Yeah.
It-
Like, and that's something that, and this isn't going to be too much of a soapbox, I promise, but like, that's something that is a pet peeve of mine. And I think that's something that is indicative of, the internet as a whole, that I guarantee, and this is why it's not going to be too much of a soapbox, because I'm putting something in there that's not in there that I haven't seen, but I guarantee that there is at least some people who will raise that concern about the movie, and then when they are told that, like when they're explained that that's not the case,
right.
they will still double down on that and still think that it's something
Right.
against the movie. And like, my thing to that is like, if that's your reaction to that,
Mhm.
then I assume that your stepson was like accepting of that, and
Yeah.
like,
He was very like, "Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, all right." He goes, "Well, yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense then."
Oh
You know?
yeah. So like, having that, like, if your reaction is to double down on it or whatever, then
Yeah.
like, you're less informed than like a 10-year-old. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane. Um,
Yeah. We all know
but
people
yeah.
like that, and we know
Yes.
people like that. You and I personally
Yes.
know a person or two like that. Um,
Yes.
that I've been through that too. Someone I was once on a podcast with, where
Mm.
I very clearly, they had a complaint about something that I very clearly, I was like, "No, that's explained away in dialogue," and said that to them.
Mm.
Then I heard that person repeat that to someone else later, and I was just like, okay, yeah, that's me."
Yeah. One of my other big pet peeves is like people that like, I've known people like this in the past, but they will like, their version of watching a movie and like engaging with the movie is to try to outsmart the movie, or try to like watch the movie with the intention of finding these like things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this willful, um like, not like unacceptance of what's being presented. Like, well, okay, well, if they did this, then why is that? It's like, well, that the line of dialogue explains why it's that. Well, but then why is this? It's like, you're being too obtuse with this movie. Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it's so frustrating. But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
And
yeah.
it's not even like you have to operate in this world. I
Mhm.
think, and I enjoy sometimes tearing a movie down for lazy screenwriting,
Sure.
or a lazy realization of or visual elements that
Mhm.
that can very clearly be like, it's like, well, yeah, like this is very obviously incorrect. Like you're very obviously not living up to the rules you set in the screenplay.
Right.
But sometimes you have to not look so hard. And that's not even
Yes.
saying that, it's not even going, "Oh, just shut up and watch the movie." Sometimes we need that, but
Mhm.
sometimes sometimes you're looking too hard for things that you're not
Yeah.
going to find.
It
And
it's an unwillingness to suspend your disbelief. Like,
yeah,
it's just,
yeah,
you refuse to do that. Like, um an example, like, I haven't seen this argument or anything, but like, just a thought that I have, since, for context, we're in the midst of a really, really big heat wave here in Indianapolis.
yeah,
It's like it's I step outside and I immediately need to take a shower because it's that hot.
yeah,
Um, but I've been thinking about an episode of The Twilight Zone from season 3, I think, called The Midnight Sun, where it's the explanation for the thing is that like Earth is like a global heat wave because the Earth has moved from its orbit and axis
Yes.
and moved closer to the sun.
Yeah.
And like obviously that's like the early 60s, and like you can accept that because like yeah, fine, it's a sci-fi show, like fine. But I just imagine like nitpicking people being like, well, that's not how that works or anything. It's like,
Right.
yeah, but also it's the Twilight Zone. Like,
Right. Yeah.
just shut up and watch it.
Yeah. Also, sometimes
Um,
you can assume things like maybe the people who are investigating this are just wrong as to what the reason is.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like maybe they don't know, and maybe
Oh
they're just
yeah.
speculating on something. It's like for something like that, there are a million things. Also, people were dumb in the '60s. How about that?
Yeah.
A bunch of
Oh yeah.
boomers running around. Like, what do you expect? People who are running around today, and then they're like, there are pedophiles in the basement of a pizza joint. It's like,
Right.
like what these people believe anything. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like just assume something. Assume maybe they're wrong.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like the final thing about that, we can get back to Supergirl, is if you find yourself questioning the intelligence of something in a movie like the Midnight Sun in the Twilight Zone,
Mhm.
just imagine that the people who decided like in that universe that that's what it was, just assume that they were paid off by Big Sun to put this out there.
Yes. Big
Yeah.
solar. Yeah.
Yeah, Big Solar. Yeah, but anyway, what did you think of the action in Supergirl
Yeah.
to get us
Yeah.
back to
Back to the movie. Yeah. It was
yeah.
again fine. It wasn't.
Mhm.
I enjoyed that Kara was a kind of she was a badass and she was really
Mhm.
nonchalant about it. She was a little better of a fighter than Superman was in Superman, where he's
Mhm.
he's relying on his power and his speed and his
Yeah.
abilities, and she seems to have been trained a little more.
Mhm.
There's more technique to her, um, which I enjoyed a lot as a nice little it's a nice little kind of contrast between those two characters.
Yeah.
But um, again, some of the effects were, messy, blind, mist
Sure.
soup or something, where they're
Yeah.
running around and it's just like bodies smashing together and, um, people flying about, after being punched or, hitting walls hard, things like that. And
Yeah.
some of the effects are a little dicey here and there.
Mhm.
Um,
It's mostly coherent, but it is kind
yeah.
of it's a little crazy
Yeah, yeah,
in some
it's a
cases.
little yeah, the attention spent to them was maybe not as much as some other films,
Mhm.
it's not the pinnacle of special effects at this point,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
it's mostly fine. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like, yeah, don't expect to be blown away. Expect to
Mhm.
just get, it's average. It's the average
Yeah.
kind of fight scenes.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I like the way that it does the way that it utilizes kryptonite is really fun and
Yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
And feels unique.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that's. I mean, yeah, I guess he does shoot her with a dart that has
Mhm.
kryptonite in it, but like the fact that they bring her to a planet that has a Kryptonian sun or whatever, and
Yeah.
has it is this night and day thing where
Yeah.
she is empowered or anything
Mhm.
during a big stretch of it. Like I like that, and I love the visual of that as well.
Mhm.
And I like that the movie didn't lean too much into the red sun versus yellow sun thing. Like
Yeah.
when I think it's a good starter for the movie to have her under a red sun and have it be that she's just partying it up, and then happens upon this young girl who's seeking vengeance, and like she gets into this scenario where she doesn't have her powers or anything, but she's still going after this guy to get the sword back. And I just like that as this like it's not done as a big like heroic thing where she's doing this, like she's doing it kind of begrudgingly, and like she's having like her little like monologue and commentary about it, like okay, well let's just do this. I'm being nice and everything and all that. I just like that there was care taken to not have just a blanket excuse for why she's not overpowered or anything. Like it is done with enough effort in the plot to not be just a blanket thing, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, and especially in terms of the kryptonite, having Argo City turned into kryptonite was, I
Yes,
thought, was
that was
especially
good.
creative. Yeah, where that, because Argo City separates itself from the rest of Krypton, they have this force field that her dad had developed that protected the city, but then as it floated away, it ends up, going out into space where, it becomes kryptonite, which is of course the story of like what kryptonite is, and turning it into this, like making the city poison itself
Yeah.
was a really interesting way to do it. And I don't know if that's if that's rooted in the comics lore or not, um but it was really fun the way they realized it there, and it created a few interesting moments between between her family and then the family that Kal-El knew, Superman knew, didn't know, as it turns out, from Superman. And that little detail as a twist is really interesting. And it's really interesting there also that his dad, or Supergirl's dad, Jor-El's brother, also thought of him as, I guess a megalomaniac of some kind. Maybe that's not quite the right word, but he was like, oh, he's
Sure.
sending his son off to become a god and to be a
Yeah.
conqueror, and I'm not going to do that. And I was like, that's really an interesting dynamic to have, with, especially if you're going to make Jor-El that kind of a person. It's fun. It's really a fun way to realize that. And you know, s- you have Superman, who is kind of that embodiment of good, with his father whose intentions were different. It's fun to see how Supergirl turns out when her dad is a little more traditional Jor-El, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah, I liked that. I liked that as giving us further kind of insight into the Kryptonians as well. Like, because our only thought with in Superman is like, oh, okay, that's kind of crazy. Like I like that that's like there's more nuance to them. And like there is that, like you said, there is that uh Jor-El in embodied like traditionally in
Yeah.
the Kryptonians.
Yeah, as kind of the embodiment of good, and then he's, in this version he's not, but his brother is.
Yeah.
and it's
Right.
and it's fun for this story too, because then Superman is always, I guess, so Superman's always like, toward Kara, he's trying to mentor her and be sort of a big brother figure. And that's kind of an interesting dynamic because she's a little more street smart, so to speak, in an intergalactic sense.
Yeah.
And he's a little more like, hey, be good, stay close to home. And she's like, I'm just going to be a wild child for a while. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
but he's also supportive of that in a way. You can
Yeah.
see his struggle where he wants her to come and partner with him, but he understands and is kind of giving her space, which, is a good positive way to be if you're a man in modern
Right.
times. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
So the kind of finale of the movie, they have the big fight and everything.
Yeah.
Kara does like she successfully convinces Ruthie not to take revenge and not to kill him.
Yeah.
And then she kills him with her out of sight.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I really liked that. It reminded me, begrudgingly so, of a little bit of Man of Steel,
Yeah.
with that ending. But I thought that this was really interesting in kind of exploring that, kind of having this juxtaposition of Ruthie being someone who's on the verge of making a decision that, as Kara tells her, will follow her for the rest of her life and take her down a path. She successfully is swayed away from that, and I feel like there's this really interesting thing with Kara doing that, in that is it saying that she's too far gone? Is she not going to be able to to come back from that, from like what she has done, what she is. I love that there's not really a straight answer with it. What did you think of it?
Yeah, well, number one, that last death is relatively gruesome. I mean, just
Yeah.
what you see, it's a stab to the throat. Supergirl
Hmm.
stabs a guy in the throat with a sword, and it's like it's pretty gruesome for for a comic book movie.
Yeah.
But it's a very again, I enjoyed she became the avatar for her vengeance because
Mhm.
she is a little more hard-hearted and has been
Yeah.
through the stuff. She's we saw throughout where she has that trauma of being separated from her parents, but unlike Superman, who was done as a baby, he has no memory of his family. She
Mhm.
does. She's I want to say she's like 10 years old when she's sent away, and
That
that's a,
sounds about right. Yeah.
that's a traumatic event for a child, and it would probably lead to things like this. If if you're that person separated from your family, that's a tough road, and she's essentially an orphan from that time, very parallel to what Ruthie is going through, and she's really just like, I don't really want that for you. I want you to be able to have whatever family you can have. Obviously this is a
Yeah.
trauma for you, but I want to help you heal and not help you turn into a psychopath. And so,
Right.
but then also she's like, also, I don't care. I'm gonna still do it. I'm gonna still stab you. Well,
Yeah.
while you're laying there.
Yeah.
So
This is for my dog. This is what you did to that girl.
yeah.
Yeah, and that is the one thing that I was not too crazy about in the movie was
Mhm.
to kind of go back and talk a little bit about this when uh they are tracking down Krem and they are on the planet that is selling girls. Like it
Yeah.
is human trafficking. That plot line, I like I feel like I don't know. I feel like that was underserved. Like that
Yeah.
felt more like it was just like, okay, we're going to do this. Like it is manufacturing a little bit of tension, which is
Mhm.
fine. But it feels like with that specific type of storyline, I feel like it maybe should have been a little bit more integral to the plot
Yeah.
than like a just pit stop in the story.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something that it kind of doesn't really come up until that point. We've already seen
Yeah,
Prim and his people, and I can't remember what they're called. Um,
me neither.
yeah, but I can't remember off the top of my head what they're called. But they mention them, and that basically they're like cruel warriors, warlords, but they don't
Mhm.
mention the trafficking part until they get to that planet, and then it's like, oh, by the way, they're part of an all male race, and they traffic females to further the
Yeah.
bloodline, and they're basically raping all of these young girls, and it's like,
Mhm.
and it's just like, you sons of bitches, it's like it's like
Yeah.
we're supposed to hate them more, but why not lead with
Yeah.
that? Why not have her
Yeah.
uncover that? And
Make that be like a focal point of the
yeah.
story. And then it leads to like the family like betraying them so that they can get their daughter back. And
Mhm.
like that, I mean, I appreciate what it was going for, but it also felt like it felt again like a pit stop. It felt like that should have had more importance to it
Yeah.
and more development.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of those movies, and I like to say sometimes it's like, well, this movie could use another round of revisions, and it's kind of like the
Mhm.
script could have used another round of revisions before they started filming that. But
Yeah.
um, but in the end, what we got was, it establishes it at least, and it's there, and it can be something that they address later on if they want to. I kind of feel like they
Yeah.
won't, but
They probably won't. Yeah.
yeah, but
Um,
it's something that's there, and that's sort of a response to kind of the chuds, so to speak, who hate
mm,
on this movie anyway, because there was another similar movie dealing with, human trafficking that was a little alarmist and, whatever,
mm,
I don't want to diminish the impact of human trafficking, but, there was a movie that the chuds loved a few years ago that
yeah.
involved a real person who supposedly was stopping all this trafficking, which, as it turns out, he was actually perpetuating some of the trafficking rather than
Mhm.
stopping it. But they won't talk about that now because it doesn't
Yeah.
fit the criteria. But those same
Yep.
people are most likely haters of this movie, and they don't they don't I don't think they get what the significance is. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I don't like writing in response to things like that most of the time.
Yeah.
It's a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I agree with you. Maybe they could have either pumped it up and developed it, or
Mhm.
maybe didn't have to go that direction at all. If they had just taken
Yeah.
those little bits of dialogue out, they just come off as generic cruel people, and it's like that
Yeah.
probably would have been enough, because that's kind of who they were trying to be
Mhm.
anyway, is just like a generic bad guy to take on.
Exactly, and I think that hits it right on the head as to what had a problem with it about, because it it seems more like it is, like you said, it is a very serious issue and everything. It's like, it's horrific, it's abhorrent, it's all of that in real life, but having it be in this movie in this way feels it feels more like, oh, this is something that is very culturally relevant in like on the internet right now. So let's put that in there because it's relevant, not because we have anything to say about it, not because there's anything of depth to it. It's more like, this is what the marketing and this is what the algorithm is telling us
Yeah.
is being talked about. So let's add this in there
Mhm.
so that it can serve that conversation
Yeah.
without involving anything and selling tickets. And
Mhm.
that just really gets under my skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it's too bad. It's to me, it's kind of a minor quibble, because
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's like,
It
whatever, of
didn't
course.
detract too much from it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the kind of thing that they're gonna do in a movie nowadays.
Mhm.
It was kind of exploitative in that other movie, and I'll stop short of saying it's not exploitative to do it here, but it
Right.
it feels a little more, it's a little more tacked on,
Yeah.
than in that movie. So it's like, yeah, just skim past it and move on, unless this is going to be a larger plot point in the larger universe at some point, or even for Supergirl
Yeah.
arc herself, like maybe that could be.
Mhm.
But I don't get the feeling that's the way they want to go. I
I
think
don't think so either.
yeah, I think they just dropped it in because they're like, oh yeah, this is what people are talking about. Let's
Yeah.
do that. This is a really terrible thing that people don't like. Let's throw that in.
Right. Right. And we can wind down the review because I think we've kind of talked it out. The final thing
Yeah.
I want to say, speaking of dropping things in, what did you make of the needle drops in this movie?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
very much loved the one at the end, and I to the point that even in the spoiler review, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a really good one right at the end. And yeah, there were a couple of really good needle drops in this movie, but particularly that
Mhm.
one. My fiance and I looked at each other and laughed out loud when that one dropped. And you'll know it. It's right at the very end. It's a very popular,
Mhm.
I don't know, song from the 2000s. And I
Yeah.
was like, what just a perfect thing. And afterwards, she was like, "Oh, it should have been this," and I was like, "No, I think it was perfect." It's like, yeah, it was perfect the way it was.
Mm.
So,
That was good. It didn't like affect me as much as I
uh,
expected it to, especially like I didn't know that was the song that was going to be used.
yeah,
But like that band, I love that band, and that
mhm,
song is iconic, obviously.
yeah,
Um, it's weird because like I know that gets kind of a bad rap across the internet, like these like covers of
mhm,
popular songs in either marketing or in the movies themselves. But like the one that stands out to me is like the cover of, is it Nirvana in Black Widow,
yeah,
that opens it. Yeah, it smells like Teen Spirit.
yeah,
That was great. And yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's
yeah,
it's fine. It's harmless. It's good.
yeah,
Um yeah, so I think that should do it for our review of Supergirl. Any final thoughts, Joe?
yeah. It just go see it.
Yeah.
Let's get it a little, build the box office a little bit. It's
Yeah.
very worth seeing. Millie Alcock is fine. All of all of the performances are at the very least fine. She's going to make a fine Supergirl throughout, however long this franchise tends to last. The larger
Yeah.
DCU now. Um,
Mhm.
she's not going to go anywhere, and she's good. Let's build it up. Let's see
Yeah.
where this goes.
Yeah. A glowing endorsement from Joe Shearer for Supergirl. I agree. It is fine. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's less than 2 hours, so
Yeah.
that's also a good thing. Yeah, and it's standalone. It's a standalone story
Yep.
for the most part. So I enjoyed it, and yeah, I recommend it as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, that is our review of Supergirl. Are you ready to go into the secondary review,
Let's
Joe?
go.
All right. And before we do that, do you think we'll go into spoilers for that? I'm trying to gauge where I should play the bumper music.
I don't know. We could.
We could.
We probably will. Honestly, we probably
Okay.
should early. We should probably have just a short review and then go.
Yeah.
The spoilers for this are kind of the thing to talk about, honestly.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, it's settled. We will do a brief non-spoiler review followed by a spoiler review. But before we get to our secondary review, I want to take a quick moment to remind you that if you like the show, please take a moment to follow us on social media and subscribe to and rate the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever your preferred podcast app is. Also, give us a review on Apple Podcasts to bump up the average star rating. There was one 1-star review that has creeped in there. So make a 5-star review. And don't forget to subscribe to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel as well, where I have video versions of the podcast and short form content as well. And we also have a merch store up on TeePublic where you can buy Obsessive Viewer Podcast branded material, apparel, stickers, mugs, bags, hats, and more. That's at teepublic.com. I'll have a link in the show notes where you can find it. Just search Obsessive Viewer in TeePublic
I'm gonna go check that out right now.
Nice. Yeah, so go check that out. And yeah, now back to the show.
Tell me I view obsessively.
Okay, and for our secondary review, we're going to be reviewing Voicemails for Isabelle, which is a Netflix rom-com that premiered on Netflix on June 19th, 2026. I almost said 1926. 2026. The premise, according to IMDb, is Jill leaves voice messages to her deceased sister telling her about her chaotic life in San Francisco. Unwittingly, a mysterious Austin, Texas real estate agent begins to receive their confessions. Writer and director was Leah McKendrick, and the cast includes Zoe Deutsch, Nick Robinson, Harry Shum Jr., Leah McKendrick, Sierra Bravo, Nick Offerman, and Lucas Gage. So we're going to do a non-spoiler review, kind of just do an overview of it, and then we'll go into spoilers. I'll play bumper stuff for the spoiler section. But Joe, what did you think of Voicemails for Isabelle in non-spoilers?
Yeah, so the short answer is I liked it a lot. And I was surprised that I liked it a lot. The longer version is in a lot of ways this is a pretty standard romantic comedy with one of the two have an advantage over the other. They know some secret information, and the other person in this partnership doesn't know they have this information, and with information that should be an immediate sort of disclosure.
Yes.
That is like the lack of disclosing the secret is a breach of trust. And so it's that, it's I know your secret, but I'm not going to tell you because I'm scared that you won't like me. And it's that, but it handles this in a much more mature way emotionally than most movies do.
Yes.
It handles relationships in general with a lot more sensitivity and a lot more care than most movies do. And it depicts men in I'm going to say it in a negative way, but in a positive, and I say that I mean that in a positive way.
Yeah.
All of the men in this movie, except for one, who is a side character, really does something. They do something pretty terrible in relation to how they treat a woman. but you also see their quote unquote good side. And even even the protagonist of this movie, and I gotta pull his name back up because I can't remember what it is. Wes is played by Nick
Wes.
Robinson. He he has this secret over her. He's like you said, the story is basically he gets a new work phone that's the number of Jill's um deceased sister. It was her former number.
Mm.
Her sister doesn't know that that number has been canceled and starts calling it. And we've all had this situation, right, where someone texts you or calls you who you don't know, who they think you're somebody
Yeah.
else, and you have to be like, "Oh no, sorry, it's a new phone, man. Thanks." But he doesn't do that. He sends her to voicemail the first time, and she leaves this really heartfelt voicemail to her sister that
Mhm.
and so he gets into this like it's a TV show for him. It's it's
Yeah.
that this is a thing for him. He's really into like what she's doing. She's just a
Mhm.
disembodied voice on the other side of the line. And he eventually like kind of creeps her on social media, and then he ends up going and basically setting up he becomes all of the things she wants that she mentions in these long voicemails to her sister, and sets these things up so that they'll be perfect, so she'll fall in love. And he doesn't stop to think about how horrible that is. That actually
Yeah.
is.
Well, I think he's conscious of it, but
Yeah.
he has this wrestling with it that like
Yes.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell her, I mean to tell her, but,
Mm.
maybe after we kiss, like that kind of
Right.
thing. And it's like, man, no. If it's like,
Mhm.
listen, if you this is your meet cute. This is the whole thing of
Mhm.
this, and this is a very normal stupid mistake that men make, right? Is like the
Mhm.
meet cute is, "Oh, I had your sister's number and you left this voicemail by mistake. Let's go have a conversation about it." Like that would have been the right way to approach it. But
Yeah.
instead, when she makes, after she has a date with somebody who kind of took advantage of her and then
Mhm.
ghosted her, and so she's like, I just want to meet a guy while I'm sitting on this bench, and maybe I offer him half of my sandwich, and then this happens, and then we go out, and he sets up to make that happen, and
Yeah.
he's foolishly trying to make her dreams come true. But also maybe her dreams are just not quite perfect, and maybe this was the
Mm.
perfect meeting. But because we are men who are stupid, this is what we do.
Mhm.
And that's where this movie comes in, is it recognizes that most romantic comedies would make you want to root for the guy doing this bizarre and completely manipulative and ridiculous thing,
Mhm.
because we want to see the couple get together, not because it's like it's such a weird, selfish kind of dynamic in romantic comedies on the audience's part, the viewer's part, that we're like,
Mhm.
"Well, this guy's obviously a tool, but we want them to get together because why? Because everybody deserves love. Everybody should have." It's like
Right.
the point of this movie is like, that's terrible. Like, what a terrible
Mhm.
thing. What a manipulative thing to do. And we see these other men manipulate her through the movie, including one who is a um, kind of he's his own like blogger influencer. He's a TikTok
The
internet
yeah.
celebrity who is on, like, he gives dating advice.
He's a podcaster.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
he
she at one point she calls him, I think, the Temu Hitch, which I thought was
yes, that was so
freaking
good.
amazing.
Yes.
It was beautiful. It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
what a fun, astute observation. But that's
Yeah.
where this all comes in, is that it, we're generations of people who've been raised with the ideas that, for men, it's like, well, if a girl tells you no, you don't give up, and
Right.
you just keep trying, and you just keep trying, and then you go to these ridiculous lengths to win her over. And too many doofuses take that to mean, don't believe her when she says no. And so,
Right.
and that's led to a lot of problems in society. And these are the
Oh
problems
yeah.
we're trying to work through. And then these same chuds, I'll use the word chuds again because I like it.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's they just fight back against it. And it's like, oh, you don't know what you want, which is another red flag flying in
Yeah.
our face.
Oh yeah. Like here's like when it comes to that, which it it's funny. Maybe this is just something from like just growing up and being more emotionally mature and everything than, in the past and of a certain age. But like when someone rejects you or says like no, it's like from the moment, like nothing about your life has changed from the moment that you asked to like between then and that, like nothing changed, like nothing, like you got an answer to a question and that's it. Like move on.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, is that this is a very healthy depiction of those kinds of relationships, because this is the thing that Wes as a character ends up wrestling with in the end, is that he knows he's wrong and he's avoiding that accountability, and that is what damages the relationship. It's not a silly contrivance of the plot. It's not, she, of course, stems around when she finds out, when she learns about and how she learns about it. But and it shows that as the mistake. It's not because you can argue in a lot of romantic comedies that when they do that sort of thing, they turn it into something else that it's a misunderstanding. Like, if I could have just told you in the way I wanted to tell you, it would have been fine. But because I didn't, but it's like, well, maybe it would have been fine and maybe it wouldn't have. But the point in this film is you have to lead with it. You have to go out and start doing that, and you can't manipulate someone.
Right.
And
so
many
many
movies gloss over that.
Exactly. Like that traditional like rom-com trope of it being like this follows that rom-com formula pretty closely.
Yeah.
But like traditionally when we have a story like that where it is a power imbalance between the two, whether it's like of a knowledge of a certain sort that's being used in order to facilitate things, like in this case, it feels like the conventional thing to do in a romantic comedy of that nature is to spend the movie trying to get the audience to reconcile that or be okay with the behavior. Like that's the goal of that movie, of that movie type. Here, it's more about confronting the immorality of it all and having the character like wrestle with that and reckon with it, while also telling a really good like grief story and story about loss and overcoming or finding your way after a tremendous loss like Jill had with Izzy.
Yeah.
Do you want to switch over to spoilers real quick?
Let's go right into it. Yeah, why not?
Okay, so we are going to spoil voicemails for Isabelle. First of all, to get into like to prime the engine for spoilers, I rated this 4 stars. I really loved this movie. So I think the spoiler talk is going to be interesting.
Let me see what I gave it, because honestly I don't remember if I gave it 3.5 or 4. I think I gave it 3.5.
I think it was 3 or 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. I did give it 3.5. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe I'll go a little bit into that as we go along. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I will play the bumper for spoilers for the secondary review. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling voicemails for Isabelle.
I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
So Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah, well, history is going to change.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
What are you asking? That we weigh the life of one against the future of mankind?
Didn't see it coming, did you?
All right, so spoilers on for voicemails for Isabelle. I want to start by just saying that this is a movie that I kind of adored it. I initially rated it 4.5 stars, and then I brought it down to 4 stars.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Zoe Deutsch. What she like in the rom-com space, she's great. Like when she and Glenn Powell were in Set It Up, like I've seen that movie several times. I love it. I think the chemistry between those two in that movie is like Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks level chemistry.
Yeah.
And I think her chemistry with Nick Robinson in this movie is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
But I knew from like the first 5 minutes of this movie, those opening credits, I was like, oh, this is going to fuck me up. This is going to get me.
Yeah.
Because it does such a great job of just like doing this rapid fire, just distillation of her relationship with her sister. And like, we're getting this, like these vignettes over time. And I'm like, I know the plot of the movie. I know what's going to happen. And it's going to break my heart. And it does. Like, it's really heartbreaking. And like, that's the impetus for the romantic comedy aspect of the movie. And I think it's a really good balance of having that romance while also dealing with grief and finding yourself after losing what is ostensibly half of yourself, which is what her sister was to her. So yeah.
And it was, and I like all of that, and I thought that was like really great. The thing that I like that mostly stuck out for me was the way that the movie sort of shifts perspectives a little bit, where you mentioned that first part is all about her and her grief, and it switches over and is about Wes for a while, but it's about the morality of that choice that he's making, and that he's screwing up actively. And again, there are not a lot of pitfalls set up around him trying to mask the fact that he knows this thing. It's a lot more introspective of it's introspective and him wrestling with the morality of it, and his friends telling him, go tell her now, you're screwing up.
Right.
And him having to deal with that and it's not some silly contrived thing where he's running around. And that's really, that's really strong. There are a couple of moments where it's a little more rom-commy than I want it to be, given that, there's a few more, there's not, I mean, it is restrained in a lot of ways. You know what? Maybe I was a little rough on it. It was a little rough, and maybe it should have been more. Maybe this is more a 3.75 to a 4.
Sure. But I think, but I think that it is not without its own like controversy and everything. Like with it, like your point about like the whole meet cute of it, like that's one of the things that I really like kind of, I guess, wrestled with when watching it, was that like the characterization of Jill in the beginning of the movie was so strong. I was like, okay, so now we're going to be introduced to Nick Robinson. And his introduction isn't that, like, we don't get nearly as much development of him. We get some commitment phobic stuff, some work stuff, some weird like immorality stuff there, like amoral stuff with his work. But from maybe it's just who I am as a person, but I was like, okay, we're setting this up to where he is like, he has this information, he has power over her. And like, I was really wrapped up in the idea that they're going to get together, and I was wondering how the movie was going to deal with that dynamic and have it be like something. And like when it got to the point where they're like making out and he's like stopping it and everything, I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is not going to be like a traditional rom-com in that sense. And I do like that it explores that in a sense where like he okay, I'm going to be careful here. He stops it and then he tries to tell her, and then when they are on the couch watching TV, he tells her, but she's asleep. But all of that's all well and good, but you're right. The meet cute of it all, the bench, the fact that he went to San Francisco to go to that live podcast because he knew she was going to be there. That is an ethical boundary that is way past where like any conventional person would say is appropriate. Like, there is that manipulation, there is that all of that is fair game, and it's something I'm wrestling with because I do love this movie because the chemistry between them is fantastic. The comedy's great. There's really great comedy there. The romance with the manipulation notwithstanding is feels very organic and natural.
Yeah.
And the resolution of it all is really satisfying. But there is that kind of yucky part at the beginning of it. So yeah.
Well, but if you look at the way that the men in this behave, she's several of them are people she's dating, and the one guy, the podcaster guy especially, is a really good example. It's like, she gets one guy who is like real douchey from the start, and you're like, oh god, I don't know, kind of guy. But that guy in the middle was, I enjoyed the character because he again positions himself as an ally, and we talked about that earlier. But he, he's like real understanding, he's real kind, he's really nice, and she likes him, he's good looking and the whole thing. And they have their own little meet cute where he's been stood up for a date, and she is there, at the same place, and having her own little issue, and she ends up going out with him. It should have probably been a red flag to her when he went out with this other girl and then ditched her for Jill. Or even I assume he went back, like he got her phone number, I assume then he went back and finished his date. Like, who knows what happened on that date. But then there's nothing else said about it, like he doesn't, not saying, oh, I went in and let her down easy and said never mind, or I mean, he honestly should have probably the right move would be finish the date, and if it's not a rousing success, then he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna move along here.
I'm so glad you said success there.
But instead, we don't know what happened on that date, but we know that he then went after her, and and they had some interactions, and then he did not call her, not only the next day but ever again. But yeah, so we see that poor behavior, and also then see Wes's poor behavior also. The question then is, which one of those was worse? And it's hard to reconcile, to me, which one of those is worse, because he got on an airplane. He could have literally dropped a text message and said, hey, like,
and he tries to, but gets distracted.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, does he though?
Which doesn't excuse it. It doesn't excuse it. Like he does say he does say that he thought that he sent her the text. But it doesn't excuse it. But like, the movie does go to a certain length to try to lessen the like, to make it less of a horror movie, basically. Which it is hard to reconcile, the bench scene. It really is, especially when he doubles down on it, and he has this this demeanor to him that feels like it is clearly a choice that he's wrestling with it, and he's trying, like, he's in real time navigating it, navigating the morality of it, which this is probably an easy comparison to make, or a cheap comparison, but since it's been on my mind for months now at this point, at parts it slightly reminded me on a very small level to Obsession, like when
like when they're making that. I've been waiting to bring that up.
Like when they're making out and then he suddenly stops, like that is exactly like what Nikki does in Obsession when the real Nikki comes through. And he's trying to navigate that, and it's very messy. It's very, it's not even a gray area. It's like switching between that line of good and bad, and not like, even if his intention is well-meaning and non-malicious, like he clearly has feelings for her, and there's nothing that is, there's nothing in their meeting or in their interactions that is something that, while he is manipulating her, he's not manipulating her to feel a certain way that he's not feeling himself. That's not giving him an excuse. That's not excusing his behavior, but it is a big difference between the podcaster who literally, like, she stops it, and then he comes back in after overhearing it, and then basically, not for, I guess, he manipulates his way into the bed, basically. and like there's a difference between that and what Wes does, but it's still kind of, it's still hard to justify.
Yeah, and I agree, but I think that's the thing and that's probably where maybe it loses some points here and there for some of that, but for me anyway. But it's ultimately, I think the way that it reconciles itself is that much like Obsession, which I'm glad you brought that up because I was been dying to bring that up for the last couple of minutes. Much
Nice.
like that movie. Well, maybe I guess the opposite of that movie in some ways, but it becomes her choice in the end to go, this guy's worth it. Maybe, I mean, he screwed up. He did this big thing, but I can move past it. And he clearly has a little bit of growing to do, but maybe I'm going to, continue on with that. But because she sees more of the real him, so to speak, and knows that, and she, we can find forgiveness in people and know that they did something really bad. We all have done bad things to significant others, or selfish things that we didn't even know were selfish maybe at the time. But that one is particularly bad. But I think it's in that dropping from the filmmaking standpoint, dropping the pursuit of the gags based out of that premise and more focusing on that emotional part of it, and I know that I'm doing something wrong and I need to fix it. I think that's the achieving growth is part of it, because let's just face it, people in their 20s, in their early 20s, and their late teens who were just starting on dating, they're going to do selfish things. Because you're looking to, at that point of your life, you're looking to satisfy a need for yourself, not for another person. And that's where maturity starts to come in, is through having those bad situations. And I think that's the thing for him, is that he kind of realized that. And again, this whole thing was very on brand for a man. It's like, it's very on brand. It's like, I have this opportunity to have a real connection with somebody, but instead I'm going to do this other thing that I'm looking at as a grander gesture. I'm going to, instead of a text message, I'm going to get on an airplane and pretend I'm someone else. And, in order to win her heart. And it's like, sometimes the simplest way is the best.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like, and that's the thing, like, to any people listening to this who are maybe in that realm of like, 20s or whatever, right. And looking into dating and everything, as much as I love this movie and I think that it's done really well, don't ever fucking do this.
Right. Yeah.
Like never do this. Like never, ever, ever, ever do anything like this is a movie. This is not real life.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go
the other route. If you're if you're looking for a date and you get a beautiful young girl who looks like Zoe Deutsch is sending you messages thinking that your phone number is her dead sister's phone number. Try texting her first and say, by the way, and then, and there's all kinds of stories where this kind of stuff has happened that led to like lasting connections between people. And I know there's a story that I like where there was a boy who was getting messages from this woman thinking it was her son or something, and it wasn't. And they like have Thanksgiving together every year or something, where, because he was a kid who didn't have, I don't know, he didn't have parents or something that to have a holiday with or something. And
I think maybe I don't
maybe
know. I think it was
her. Yeah. I can't remember.
I think she was messaging him, but I think she didn't have much of a family left because she was older, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's an older woman and a younger boy, but it's not like a romantic connection. I think it's more.
Right.
Yeah. They like do this as a way of just like being friends. And at least to my knowledge. And
and I don't mean to be like policing what people do or anything. Cause like I've gone out and killed my fair share of women hoping that their sisters will text me and everything.
Sure.
But just don't do what he does in this movie.
Yeah. Learn from his mistake, and just
Yeah.
the best way is just to approach someone and say
Mhm.
hello and see where it goes. And if it doesn't go in
Yeah.
the direction you want, then move on. That's kind of the
Failing
ultimate.
that, yeah. Failing that, go to Barnes and Noble and act confused in the Criterion section.
There's lots of ways to do this. We don't have to
Yeah.
resort to subterfuge or manipulation or
Right.
trying to gain an advantage over somebody. So
Yeah.
go that direction.
And as far as the movie is concerned, with the romantic comedy tropes and contraptions and everything,
Yeah.
I was so into this movie as it was playing that how the plot's gonna unfold. That they're gonna have their romance. She's gonna find out that he had her voicemails, and then they're gonna have the breakup, and then they're gonna get back together. That's just how these movies go. With those conventions and with those tropes, when they're at the wedding and she has his jacket and he or she calls him, or she calls her sister, like, even though it's expected, I know exactly how it's going to play out. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I had a visceral gasp and yelled in my apartment like, "Oh my god, oh my god, it's in her pocket. It's in the pocket. She's wearing the coat." And I'm like, what am, and I audibly said, like, why am I surprised? I love this movie.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of magic of it for me, is that it was that level of just immersion in it, with a tried and true formula for a romantic comedy movie, which is a genre that I unapologetically love.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I like that it was able to do that, to get that reaction out of me.
Yeah. A couple of things for me on that is that, again, the difference of this is that we're not rooting for her. And this is the way that it is in most of these movies, that, there's this, like you said, this power imbalance, and there's a series of misadventures, comedic, misadventures, to where we're rooting for the person who is the lesser of these to not learn of it, because the things that are happening are funny. So we're getting pratfalls and silly things, and a department store is getting trashed or something, like things that are happening that are silly in the context of the movie. And when they find out, it kind of ruins the fun, even though the situation is pretty similar in terms of the dynamics of it. And we're rooting for the manipulation to continue. At least we're meant to root for it, because that's what the movie is setting up. Here, we're kind of consistently in the spot where it's like, tell her. And the more he doesn't, the more we're getting angry with him. And when that break happens, he deserves it, and he knows he deserves it, and we know he deserves it. And we're not like, oh, he's some poor guy. That's like, dude, you screwed up. Now you have to fix your screw up. This is not like that thing where we're like, yeah, we don't want you to, we want you, you're not a man child that's, a lovable man child who is doing what boys do. You're someone with potential who's immature. And and that's a distinct kind of subtlety that the movie has, that it portrays him that way, not as just like, oh, he's a good guy, but he's just doing this thing and it's funny, and oh, come on, he's just being a boy. It's like, no, he's being a dipshit, and he needs to he needs
exactly
to
and something that I liked about it as well, when it gets to the point where she loses her voicemails because of the software update, it's her lowest point in the movie. It's after she's found out about her voicemails, and it's that point in the movie where she's on her own and he's on his own. I do like that he, at the grand finale of the movie, when he goes to Jose's for to meet her at midnight on New Year's Eve. So rom-com, conventional rom-com, but he's doing that, he has given her back the voicemails that she had from her sister without him knowing that it worked. And I do think it's a little, I mean, it's on the nose a little bit because when they have their big breakup scene at the wedding, she says, like, I don't need a man in my life. I need my sister back.
Yeah.
And he literally gives her sister back in the form of voicemails.
Yeah.
I like that, but I also like that that's not something that when they get back together, she or he are conscious of in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that he did this thing and this is the grand gesture that is going to win her back or anything. This is just something nice that he did that he wasn't sure was going to work and that she is getting the benefit from without knowing that he's responsible for it. So I appreciated that. And I really liked I thought the line at the end, it's hokey, it's romantic, everything. It's very cheesy, but like his line where he gets her back is that he knows that she doesn't need a man to make her better or anything, but I know, like, I damn well need you, or I need you for that. And I'm like, God damn it, you got me. You got me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid line. But yeah, I like that the thing was, like, he did it because it was nice. And the one thing you didn't see him doing was, like, texting her and being like, "Oh, I'm going to get your voicemails back."
Exactly.
You know? It's not,
and he
it's
doesn't
not like,
say
"Look,
it in
I
the
did
voicemail to her.
dishes," you know?
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
like it was like he did it, and then I don't even know if they discussed it after that. I don't remember a line where she
There's
tells
no
him that, or
line
he
where
asks or anything.
no.
It's just like, it's done. She gets it. She doesn't necessarily recognize that he did it, or
Yeah.
that he had it done. But that again is another one of those things. It's like, if you care about someone, you do nice things for them. You're not doing nice things because you are looking for their approval, or you're looking for them.
Right.
You're not.
It's not a transactional relationship.
Yeah. And as as a divorced man of a certain age who now has, another fiance, another important person in my life, that's a thing that took into a marriage for me to really understand, is that difference of, I'm not doing something to check off a box on a list.
Yeah.
I'm not there. And we have, when you get older and you get married, there are certain, like, things that men say that women just get infuriated by, and rightfully so. It's things like, I did this for you. I did the laundry for you. I did this for you. I cooked dinner for, I mean, cooking dinner for you is a little bit different because there's a little different connotation, but when the connotation is, I'm taking something that's your job and doing it myself, like, that's its own kind of dick move,
Yeah.
that you're attaching to something good that ruins and undoes some of what you're doing, as a man. It's like, if you do something good like that, don't go and seek approval for it. Don't go,
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like, oh yes, I did this, aren't I a good man? And it's like, no, you're a dick, because now now you want your reward. Now you're a dog looking for a treat. You're not, you're not a partner doing something for someone, doing something because you recognize that it's difficult for them to do. It's like, you volunteered to always do the dishes because you know that she hates it, not because you want her to pat you on the head and stuff sausage in your mouth, So, but
and see, like, and I love that you're putting your own experience into this, but like, for me as a single guy, like, to equate it to something in my life, like, this morning I gave Pizza some medicine for her, a UTI that she has, and then I immediately gave her one of her special puree treats. And so now I'm just constantly, like, once we finish recording, I'm going to be like, hey, Pizza, remember I gave you the special treat?
Right.
You don't need to be mad at me anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm doing okay.
Right. Yeah, you're getting it.
So dumb. But no, I really enjoyed this movie. The actual ending, like the last scene where they're both calling Isabelle, and that's another thing with the voicemail that he sends to her. He explains that, like, this is a nice gesture, that he explains that he got a new cell phone number for his work phone. He's keeping this line active. There's no phone attached to it, so you can call and leave voicemails as much as you want.
Yeah.
No one will ever hear them. And I love that the end of the movie is them both giving voicemails, like leaving voicemails, him asking for her blessing.
Yes, that was really cute.
And then and the sign that she gives, like the music playing is like,
yes,
it's a beautiful rom-com ending. I like it. It made me tear up pretty significantly, honestly, and I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, and okay. Oh, and I have a couple of things. Number one, I want to address that song that was a needle drop too, at the beginning of the movie that was also fantastic.
Yes,
That's the song "Dancing on My Own" from Robin with a Y, for people who love '90s music or late '90s music. So that song recently has kind of popped into like my world. I don't know if I even heard it when it first came out. I was aware of Robin through whatever her other famous song was. I can't remember her other big song. But and Alicia would probably kill me if she heard me say that. Maybe she did hear me. But it's so funny because my daughter likes that song, and she just recently learned about that song, and then it came on, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, what a fun song to include!"
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's like it's because sometimes they'll have those things where they'll have a song like that characters dance to, and it's like their best friends, they're in their best friend's favorite song, and it happens to be whatever shitty song happens to be popular at the moment.
Oh yeah,
and
like the movie even kind of does that a little bit at the end when they use the when he's running to Jose's, like the song that plays is like a very popular TikTok song.
Yeah. There's a couple of those in that, but the central song is, as this one has a little more meaning because it's just a pretty good song, and it's sort of obscure, and it works, it works in the context of it's Izzy and Jill's song. It doesn't, it's not like, like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or something,
right?
Where it's like, oh, we're dancing to this song because we're young, carefree girls, and it's just the most popular song that's on the radio at the time of the movie, being made. And I don't mean to pick on that movie. I don't even know if that movie does that, but that's like such a trope, and they just again find the sweet spot. Other thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't get, that I just like let go by the wayside. There's sort of a meta element to this movie too, where they keep talking about Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan movies.
Yeah.
Which, number one, all of the people in this movie are probably a little young. Like, not to say they couldn't have, but it adds a little layer of something that that they specifically reference You Got Mail, and at one point Wes is told, "You're not Tom Hanks," like like they have those, but this plot, the Meet at Midnight on New Year's Eve, is pulled straight from Sleepless in Seattle, another Hank and Ryan movie.
And When Harry Met Sally.
And
Racing to Find Her.
And so that little bit of meta is okay. It's not too much. It's a little more subtle that's kind of a reference that they don't come out and say. But so I kind of appreciated that. And also we haven't talked that much about some of the other, I don't want to say tropes, but the best friend gimmicks is it's a married couple, which is fun and unusual because it's either the woman's gay best friend, or it's the guy's dude bro best friend. Maybe he's got a female friend that is like telling him how dumb he is, but usually it's it's those things. And here, it being a married couple, and both of them are saying the same thing and modeling positive behaviors to them for the most part, I think. That was fun. And and it's Brita, which is such a weird name.
It is.
And Andy is the guy, and they just have a couple of scenes where, and of course their wedding is part of it. Like their wedding, he's the best man in the wedding, and invite.
And she's the writer director of the movie as well.
Oh yeah, yes she is.
Yeah.
And that was just another fun little bit, and it was, there's an authenticity to that also that I liked. And so there's that. And then I want to touch on the performances. I don't know if you want to
Oh, yeah.
to any of those things, but then we can talk about some of the
Oh, go right
we
ahead.
don't really talk.
Yeah, no, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
You know, Zoe Deutsch was very good. You know, we talked about it. You talked about how you were a fan of hers a few days back, and I was like, she's fine. He was very good in this, and you know, Nick Robinson as Wes I thought he was fine. He's a little more iffy, but I think that works. You know, I think it works in the movie. He's a little iffy in terms of like, is he just like, you know, a douchebag on his own? Is he like really a good guy?
Sure.
He does a good job of kind of being sincere, and you know, while he is you know, an embodiment of kind of immaturity in some ways, of someone who wants to try, who's trying hard, but it maybe isn't quite there. There's maybe on the cusp of being a decent guy. I think he does a good job. And like I said, most of those other performances are you know, are fine. The guy who plays the podcaster was pretty good in a smaller role.
Yeah.
You know who I didn't love was Nick Offerman.
You know, that's interesting. Like, I thought he was fine, but the character, it was out of a different movie. Basically.
Yeah, he was in a different movie than everybody else. And and it wasn't that he was bad. I think that's the way to say it. Like, he was over the top with he had an accent. So he's basically, Jill is a line cook who wants to become a chef, and she's in this, like, she's working for him. Chef Bastian is his name.
Yeah.
And Nick Offerman, he's playing just like the douchiest, not even reject from Top Chef, because they talk about how he was on the show. And
he was a finalist,
yeah, he's a
basically.
finalist, and he's like, I'm a celebrity, and so he's doing this like a contest of his own version of it to determine who will be like basically his sous chef, I guess. And or you know, at least they're going to be hired for his restaurant. And so this is her ongoing non-romantic, you know, plot point, that she's trying to get this job, and she feels overwhelmed by it because there's some misogyny going on, or favoring the man who's in the midst of the competition. And you look at the line of the people who do work for him, they're all men, and they laugh as he humiliates the women over and over and yells at them. He's like what is she calls him something too. She calls him a Timu Gordon Ramsay, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Which was pretty fun.
Like a knockoff Gordon frickin' Ramsay or something like that.
I think that's I think the Timu line was the one that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But he was, which I think it's fine, because it's what he was going for, was just being you know, really, like, he feels fake. He feels like a fake movie character, but I think that's part of the movie too.
Absolutely, because he does do that accent, but I think he really only does it when he's outside and he's like performing for people. Like he does like his regular accent when he's in the kitchen, but like that's another example of a character in this movie that is like a man who is manipulative of women to an extent, where he, like, when they ask him like, who's your favorite chef, and he points to his mom tattoo. It's like, it's so lame. But like that's exactly like the kind of PR stunt that a monster would do, and then go and be just completely brutal toward women that are working for him, and then choose the guy that for the promotion that had like a raw souffle or whatever.
Yes. But it was so all of those were interesting and fun, and I liked that subplot. And then moving into the food truck part of it, a couple of scenes reminiscent of one of my favorite movies, Chef. That deals
I thought of Chef too,
and I enjoyed that, as you know, these are like her expressions of her making all these things her own. And the dessert tacos was like a fun idea. I wanted to see a little bit more of that. We could have a little food porn, you know, segment where she's you see her making them and eating them sometimes, but it's real, like, kind of like off the cuff, and doesn't really do it like Chef does it, where we like
Yeah.
look at the things that he's cooking and we're like, oh my God, like I want to try that. And here it was
Yeah.
like, what?
They're art pieces for him. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, what are breakfast tacos? And like, would I want one of those? Like that's the kind of thing. It could have been a little, this is just the minorest, most minor quibble I can
Sure.
think of. It would have been fun to see her making those and really enjoying cooking, because we see her
Yeah.
cooking under pressure in ways that she doesn't like. It would be fun
Yeah.
to see the joy that she takes in that. And we do get one scene where she makes Wes dinner, and but you see the aftermath of it. You see it done. You see her putting in the work, which is it's a small distinction.
And I did love that scene when he tastes the pot pie, and like they don't really like, it doesn't hammer home on it or anything, but you can tell from his expression that like this is his mother's pot pie, and like it's a combination of him realizing like, oh yeah, this is it, and then him realizing, I like, there's so much under the surface of that scene with him that it's him realizing, I think he's mentally wrestling with his manipulation and what he's doing to her, and like realizing like, oh my God, this is wrong. This is what I'm doing is wrong, and this is like simultaneously it's wrong, and this is like a real feeling that's between us. So I liked that.
Yeah. So this is a good movie. It's easy when you look at the setup and you think, boy, this is going to be dumb. This is going to be, pedestrian run of the mill romantic comedy that someone slapped together. And there was clearly some care taken. Yeah, Leah McKendrick, you were right. I did not catch on that she was the director and writer of the film. And that's very cool to look at. Maybe I'll watch this movie again with that in mind.
Yeah. Did you see her previous movie Scrambled? I didn't see it. It was a few years ago.
Yeah, no.
I've heard good things, but I haven't seen it. So
yeah, let me see
I'm gonna seek it out because I was really impressed with this movie. The other final thing that I'll mention that I really liked was that like her parents are in there pretty infrequently in the movie, but when they come to her apartment and they give her the check that was Isabelle's college fund, I thought that was so sweet and so beautiful the way that it was done, because at that moment she's at her lowest point. She's not sure, like she's talking to them about how she doesn't know how to function without Isabelle in her life, and she doesn't think that Isabelle would be proud of her or anything. And like just the sentiment of like her sister is essentially funding this venture that she's going to do, and like she would be proud of her, and like she loved her and everything. Like that is just so beautiful and so emotional, and I loved how it was done in this movie.
Just what a strong, solid representation of all of those things. They're not, they don't have, these characters mostly don't have kind of clear mommy or daddy issues. She has two parents who love her. As a matter of fact, there was a point when Alicia was she openly said, where are her parents? Shouldn't they be like around her? Like their other daughter just died. Shouldn't they be like checking in on her? And then within a couple of minutes that scene popped up, and it's like, there we go. It's like they recognized it and gave it, a few minutes too late for her, but but they addressed it, and it was again wholesome. And they're not the normal disapproving parents, which we get a little tease of it, like, oh, you're out there doing your dreams, and like, but they're just there to listen and to hear her and to offer guidance and not judge her in pursuit of selfish things. Like they want her to stay in their hometown. Like that's again, such a subplot in romantic comedies, disapproving parents that think you're making the wrong choices. Instead, they're there to be supportive, whether they agree with it or not. We have things that maybe they think that she's being silly, but then as soon as she talks about giving it all up, they're like, no, like, go, you need to chase your dreams. Like you need to have dreams. Dreams were not your sister's dreams. Like her,
and it's not
didn't kill that for you.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily like an ultimatum. It's just like you can take this check, you can move back home, you can be happy, you can get an apartment, or you can pursue your dreams. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You know, like it's very mature, like
Yeah.
the rest of the movie is.
Yeah. Mature, healthy representations of relationships. It's like what a weird concept in the movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So any final thoughts on voicemails for Isabelle, or should we wind down?
Yeah, let's wind down. I think we said all we need to say. Go check this out.
I agree.
It's
Yes,
it's
is
on
on
Netflix. What we said, it's on
Yep.
Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
Yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, I rated it 4 stars. Joe rated it 3.5.
3.5, and I'm gonna amend it to 4 because it's worth it. Yeah, I do think
Sweet. Very nice. Well, check it out. And that is it for the secondary review. And that's it for this episode. Once again, you can follow Joe's work over at MidwestFilmJournal.com. Also, be on the lookout for his episode, guest appearance on Odd Trilogies in the coming weeks, as well as mine in the next week. So check that out. And yeah, that's it for this week's episode of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening, and make sure to follow the show on social media. Subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast app. Also, Joe, thank you so much for joining me on this Friday morning.
Yeah, thanks.
Into afternoon. Of course.
This is it's a good day because we were both off, and
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we can hang up, and I'm gonna go out and do some things, and
nice.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna turn on my air conditioning and take a shower because I'm sweating my balls off.
Oh yes. It's hot.
Hot. Oh yes.
Central Indiana as we record this.
It is. So also check out Patreon and also check out our other podcasts, Tower Junkies and Anthology. I'm going to go ahead and start playing myself out. And once again, plug for Patreon. Check out patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Back Half Blind Spots is off and running with Cool Hand Luke and Remember the Days and more to come. Next week on the show, not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe Widow's Bay, maybe Gail Daughtry. I'm not sure. But until then, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Looking at all my eyes can see, they tell me I view obsessively.